It's death. It's destruction.
Global news impacts us.
We have to change the way we live. This is why we need independent media.
Yep. Cheers and salutations. Welcome to what is probably going to be a very huge show. I know people have been saying, Kit, the show's going on longer. Well, that's because there's so much things that are happening here. And because this is going to be such an epic, huge, outstanding show, as always, I'm going to introduce it like this. My name is Kit Cabell. This is Hardlens Media. We are live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Central on YouTube, Odyssey, Rockfin, Rumble, and Kick. But to be clear here, I have to stop myself because I'm so used to saying the same thing over and over again. We're no longer live on Odyssey. We're only live on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, and Kick. So that's where you can find us live. If you want to help us out even further, please consider being a patron supporter. By being a patron supporter, you're making sure that we're still around. Shout out to these wonderful patron supporters. Shout out to Linda Corey, Lizzie Girl's mom, Laura Mina, Lewis, Mandy Zimroy, Marcel Gardley, Margaret Stawawi, Margaret Gold, Melina Kimmel, Michael Hage, Michael Swinsky, and good friend of the show, outstanding moderator, and always first in line, the wonderful, the outstanding, the legendary, the man himself, Miguel H. Mandatory thumbs up for Miguel H. All right, so make that happen. Make that happen right now. So shout out to all you good people. Tomorrow will be Hardlens Media at the movies, 8 p.m. Central. We will be watching the film Blade Runner 2049. But because we have such a huge show, you know what I realized? I need a tag team partner. Give it up for Indy Left, who's in the house. Indy.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Oh, my God, I'm live on Hardlens. I'm normally in chat, but today I decided to step out from chat, and Kid invited me so graciously, and love this channel, and been a sub and supporter for years, and love seeing it grow, and honor to be here. Thank you.
No problem. I'm glad to have you as a tag team partner in this. We got a lot to address. I know that both of us have very busy schedules in the morning. So just a heads up, folks, because there's going to be a 2-hour program. We are talking about that. How is he ever still alive? Kissinger being pranked. Zelensky biting the hand that feeds him with NATO. Trump not wanting to debate. What? Tucker Carlson hosting the Republican primary debate and Trump won't be there. And of course, Joanne Reed, she's afraid of Twitter. Did you know that? She's afraid of Twitter.
Oh, boy. Everybody's leaving for, they're announcing, I'm leaving for Blue Sky. I'm leaving for Notes. I'm leaving for Post. I'm leaving for...
They're all coming back. This is the red light district. Everyone wants their quick fix. They want to pour some whiskey in their coffee, grab a mimosa, smoke a bowl, do some shrooms, chew on some cocoa leaves. You know, they're gonna come back to Twitter. Everybody comes back to Twitter. You can't quit it, man. Who are we kidding here? But nonetheless,
so for those who don't know, I have my channel is Indie Left Media on YouTube, as you can see. Actually, you can't see because it's StreamYard, but IndieLeft.media is our website. I'm also the co-founder for INN, Indie News Network. Kit features Jesse Jett. Jesse and I were live last night on American Tradition. We played some Metallica, and then he read some Dr. Seuss. So Seuss-talica. So it was amazing. So check out indienews.network and inn.network, as well as indieleft.media. Oh, thank you. And that's us on Twitter. That's my family.
Yeah, so that way people can see and learn more about it. Listen, folks, if you're not following INN, please do so. You see, this is where you can find all their social media links are at. And plus, they were very helpful in getting Hardlands Media started on Substack. I still got to take care of everything on Substack still as well. But again, thank you, man. I do appreciate all the help and you coming on board and helping the Hardlands Media team out. You have been a real big support. And for that, I can't thank you enough.
You guys are the best. Happy to. So,
all right. Yeah.
You got stories, huh? So let Kissinger, huh?
Yeah. So let's get started with our first segment of the day. So, Indy, I got to ask you a question. Buddy.
Shoot.
All right. Do you want to know what it is? Okay. First of all, how is it that Henry Kissinger is still alive, man?
The Grim Reaper keeps missing.
Nah, I don't know. But so anyways, here's the issue with Henry Kissinger, folks. For those of you who don't know, this is one of the many architects to U.S. foreign policy. He has a bloody track record. And no, I'm not trying to be funny with the word bloody. It is truly bloody. But what happened, and this is something that just recently happened yesterday, Henry Kissinger got pranked. He got punked by a couple of Russians. I know you could hear the vote blue no matter who people crying in the background. But this is what happened. Henry Kissinger, master of the deep state, admits Ukraine blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. So, again, pay very close attention. I'll play this video again as well because it's only 45 seconds, so it will probably loop over. But listen very carefully. Even though he's probably still not all there, it's kind of interesting how the Russian pranksters kind of get him to admit, I thought it was you guys, or you knew, which is what he was really trying to say. I thought you guys knew.
Of Nord Stream 2. How do you think? Who is behind of explosion of Nord Stream 2? Who is guilty? How do you think?
I frankly have thought you were.
Really? You think that we? No.
But I didn't blame you. I would not say that as a criticism.
So for those of you who might not have heard it, let's play it again one more time. Were you able to at least understand? Because I had to listen to this video like a few times just to hear what Kissinger was saying. Indy, do you want any clarification?
Well, we can run it again, yeah, but I just noticed that the guy at the end, back to back, the guy on the right looked shockingly like a Kit Cabello with a nice haircut. I have to say. I
feel personally attacked, but all right, well we'll go ahead and watch that.
Yeah, let's look for that at the end because that's what I saw. It jumped off the screen at me. I mean, I heard what Kissinger said, and he's a clown. I thought that was you.
No,
that was very funny.
So again, let's play it again. I'm going to mute my mic just to knock out.
Yep, same.
Of Nord Stream 2. How do you think? Who is behind of explosion of Nord Stream 2? Who is guilty? How do you think?
I frankly have thought you were.
Really? You think that we? No, no.
But I didn't blame you. I would not say that as a criticism.
All right. So first and foremost, number one, that's Henry Kissinger being pranked by a couple Russians. So whoever his handlers are, they're probably fired. But also number two, no, I look nothing like the guy, on that side. So no,
okay.
no.
Okay. Shave those eyebrows down a little bit, and you guys could literally be twins. Sorry, bro. I think we might have to have a little democracy in the chat, folks.
No.
I'm just having some fun. But yes, what he said was, I did not blame you. I thought I basically said I thought it was you. I thought it was you guys.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it is interesting that he was pranked like this, and I want to pull up this article from RT just to trigger the vote blue no matter who people. Kissinger falls victim to Russian pranksters posing as Vladimir Zelensky. Veteran U.S. statesman Henry Kissinger said he wouldn't. Again, how are you still alive? God, hey, what's going on up there? What's going on up there? You gotta get this dude. He's been around too long. I don't know. He had to make a deal with the blood god Korn or something like that. Anyways, said he wanted to criticize President Vladimir Zelensky for blowing up the Nord Stream pipelines, according to a video published by a pair of Russian pranksters. The Centurion thought he was talking to the Ukrainian leader himself. The duo, who go by station.
Ow.
What? Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. That last sentence, the guy's 100 years old. Yeah. First of all, you've got him on camera. So now you've got a camera on him, and somehow you've got him believing that he's talking to Zelensky, but he's talking to a radio show that's pranking him. Like, this ain't the Z Morning Zoo, and this isn't like a guy that hasn't been on TV. How did they not vet any of it? It's beyond me. But I'm sorry. Continue.
No. It's perfectly fine, because you do bring up a good point. Like, look, I could see a prank like this being done in the 90s, in the era of the shock jock era, right? I could see somebody being pranked like this. In this day and age, though, especially for someone like Henry Kissinger, you would expect a little bit more of a shield wall against him or protecting him so that no one would be able to do this. But somehow these two, Vovin and Lexus, were posed as the Ukrainian leader during the conference with Kissinger. And they had a full hour-long episode of their show. And apparently, so to be clear, here's what he said. Frankly, I thought it was you, Kissinger finally said, according to the dubbed-over translation exchange. Then Zelensky, in response, assured the American that Ukraine was not behind the sabotage, to which Kissinger said he didn't blame Kiev and made it clear that his remark was not meant as criticism. So for those of you who don't know, the Nord Stream pipeline was a pipeline from Russia going into Europe that provided much of the mainland of Europe, natural gas and heating. And look, Indy, I think we both can agree that pipeline was very profitable to Putin. I don't see Putin shooting himself in the foot to deny himself funds. And then the New York Times, just a few months ago, posted an interesting article, because the story about the Nord Stream pipeline destruction has been changing over time, to where they wrote their most infamous headline, "Maybe it's good we don't know what happened to the Nord Stream pipeline." So, Indy, stop asking questions. Stop asking questions. You ask too many damn questions.
Well, actually, we sign. I sign off every "How did we miss that?" And we just finished episode 87 on Saturday night with "Keep questioning everybody's motivations." That's literally the thing that I tell everyone to do. So, no, not going to stop doing that. Nord Stream, we've been covering since the thing was blown up effectively, and asking who blew it up. Look, Putin could have just turned off the spigot. He didn't need it. If he wanted to stop the flow, he could have, but he was actually selling them gas, even though everyone didn't want to know that. While the war was going on, after February 2022, he was still selling Ukraine gas, and Russia was.
No, go. I didn't mean to cut you off. Continue.
Yeah, but then Cy Hirsch came out and said that it was CIA as well as the Ukrainians. I've also seen reports that there were British frogmen that were involved as well. Then you had the 6 Ukrainians in a boat story. That's ridiculous. But what do you think, man?
Well, what I find interesting about how this whole entire conflict has been playing out, again, I want there to be diplomatic peace talks. I want this conflict to be over. The more weapons that are exchanged and sent to Ukraine, the more I'm concerned that this war will come back to haunt us. And I was recently on Jose Vega's show with his friend Kynan, declaring independence. And I said this on their show, like, mark my words, 10, 15 years down the road, the actions that we have done in Ukraine will come back to this country. And what do I mean by this? I don't mean anything by Russia. No, I mean those weapons that were sent into Ukraine. CBS did a documentary series that immediately was taken down because we are unable to keep track of all the weapons that we send there. That goes from the tanks, light armored vehicles, artillery, rifles, machine guns, rocket launchers, etc. So none of that's being held accounted for. So where do those weapons fall into hands to? Potential dictators, criminal organizations, terrorist groups. And the way this war is playing out, it's not turning out to be the oh so fantastic Hollywood ending that corporate media was making it seem to be in 2022. Because adding on top of this story with Henry Kissinger, I want to link this story with what we just saw with Kissinger, and that is Zelensky is biting the hand that feeds him. He's trying to act like the big dog when he's really the little dog. Zelensky attacks NATO. He attacks goddamn NATO. And no, not through military means, but through verbal exchange. Now, Indy, I don't know, maybe you want to kind of give a rundown to the people. What happens when you bite the hand that feeds you, especially if you are working with the military industrial complex here in the United States? What happens if you choose to bite the hand that feeds you?
They move over to Taiwan and they coup you?
True. So Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has accused, so he's begging these people to have Ukraine join NATO, and he's accused NATO of not showing enough respect. And I can't help but hear the voice of Tony Soprano, played by the late, great James Gandolfini, saying, those that want respect, give respect. As he lashed out at the U.S.-led bloc for its unwillingness to offer Kiev immediate membership. Oh, he's done for. He's done for. Zelensky launched his broadside on Tuesday as NATO began its summit in Vilnius, Lithuania. The Ukrainian president cited signals he had received which indicated Kiev would not be granted an invitation of any sort to join the bloc. He goes on to say, we value our allies, we value our shared security, and we always appreciate an open conversation. Ukraine will be represented at the NATO summit. But however, because it is about respect, but Ukraine also deserves respect, Zelensky said. And again, he goes on to say, according to reports, the most recent version of the draft communique by NATO states will be in a position to extend an invitation to Ukraine when allies agree on conditions are met. So the conditions are is once the war is over, then possibly Ukraine could join NATO. So once the war is over, how asinine does that sound?
Yeah, no, and no. First of all, one of the conditions of ending the war is going to likely be that they won't be joining NATO. So that's a contradiction in terms, number one. Number two, they don't get to dictate. Number two, there's so much wrong with all of this. I mean, NATO shouldn't even exist in the first place. And I think that we're all in agreement that NATO should be disbanded. It was a military alliance, it was originally a defensive alliance, but there's no one to really defend it against. Russia was not attacking NATO. Russia was not, especially because Ukraine is not part of NATO, even adding Sweden and adding all these countries, nobody's still attacking NATO. now it's an economic alliance more than anything, and they could call it what it is, not military, but it's also being used to force American and North American military weapons on the rest of the world. Because I guess our military's out of cash, and we're spending $880 billion a year. We need more money. So let's go.
Well, I mentioned this too on Jose Vega's show yesterday. Okay, so let's say this conflict is still happening and eventually the war ends. So there's a couple ways this war in Ukraine can end. Either one, it's the absolute defeat of the Ukrainian military, which then, there's no way Ukraine's going to join NATO. Number two, there's a ceasefire, and Russia still occupies the land that it recently annexed from Ukraine. And because of that land being annexed, I don't see in any scenario in that peace treaty where Ukraine is a member of NATO, because then Russia can restart hostilities. And then number three, the last and least likely scenario, somehow Russia's defeated. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening anytime soon. This is going to be a prolonged conflict in which people on both sides are dying. And so when I hear this talk about once the war is over, then there will be peace talks, because I got to pull up this asinine video from CNN. Now, again, it's an interview with Mike Pence, and it's kind of, stupid in a way, because it makes no sense whatsoever of CNN even trying to propose this question. But here we got none other than the great Caitlin Collins talking about the war ending in Ukraine. And here, let's listen to big brain Mike Pence talk about it. This is how you know this man was is not qualified not only to be a vice president, but to be president as well.
I also want to talk about a recent trip you made to Ukraine, where you met with President Zelensky. You're the first person in the 2024 Republican field to do so. Do you believe that Ukraine is ready to enter NATO right now?
Well, not during the war.
Now, that was a stupid question she asked, okay? That's number one. Number one, that was a very stupid question. But again, number two, there's a whole reason why this conflict's happening in the first place. Russia does not want Ukraine to be part of NATO.
I honestly believe that it's important, as the leader of the free world and the arsenal of democracy, that America continue to provide the Ukrainian military what they need to fight and win and repel that unprovoked Russian invasion. But the question of NATO membership, and I spoke about this with President Zelensky, I think should all wait on after the war is won. And
what does a victory look like? How is a war going to be won? Russia also has weapons of mass destruction. I mean, seriously, Catelyn, that was a stupid question. CNN, what's wrong with you?
I must tell you, as I heard again from President Zelensky, that I honestly think President Biden has done a very poor job explaining our national interests there. But also, I heard President Zelensky's frustration with how slow the United States has been in fulfilling our commitments for military support. Caitlin, we promised 33 Abrams tanks back in January. They're now being told, I heard on that trip, that they might get them in September. They're
so already, again, it's going to stop it there because, Caitlin Pence talking about war ending in Ukraine and, of course, what a final victory looks like when there is no such thing as a final victory. I want to get your thoughts, Indy, before I pull up the last important piece of information, because it's something that the audience needs to be made well aware of, especially with what's happening in Ukraine and how crazy this entire conflict is. But again, just to reiterate the point, they're talking about ending a war with Ukraine potentially being a member of NATO. Your thoughts, man?
Oh, man, he's like, we're not warmongering fast enough. Oh, he sucks so damn bad. He was terrible as the governor of Indiana. He's terrible as the vice president. There isn't, like, I don't even know. What is this guy getting paid to do right now? And who is funding his campaign for president? Who has been backing this clown? I mean, he's clearly corporate funded. Somebody is getting rich and somebody is doing well because Mike Pence is in a position of power. That's the reason why he's there. That, and he looks like a vanilla, cotton top, Q-tip dude that everybody seems to be comfortable as like looking the part of a CEO leader even though he's completely vanilla. He's the male Kamala Harris. He laughs completely awkwardly. He's a total robot. He knows nothing about most situations, but he talks very slowly and softly, and he looks the part very well. I mean, he literally, Trump called him right out of central casting, if I remember correctly.
Okay, here, just to add on the point of what Indy said, look, my second home state is Indiana, and if the people of Indiana don't like you, man, you are a total screw up. People of Indiana were happy to get rid of him, and he was a terrible vice president anyways. But if we have to look at the entirety of, well, this war that's happening, we have to remember that these politicians, both Democrat and Republican, are warmongering profit. They want to profit off of more war. Okay, these are war profiteers. These are people that are okay with individuals dying. And the thing is, what Zelensky's going to have to live with is that he's been made a fool. I think we've all seen the videos and the photos of him with all the NATO leaders. He's the only one not wearing a suit and tie. He's the only one who seems to be, well, out of the picture. Out of place. And so there he is looking like a clown trying to get support for our country, for his country that has now become completely devastated. So how should we end this segment? I have a question for the audience, and maybe the internet can answer it for me. Who did this? Who doctored this photo to make it look like this? Because this perfectly sums up Zelensky. Internet, who did this? Because even this person, El Donaldo Trumpo, is asking who did this.
Oh, dude, Il Donaldo Trumpo is one of the funniest accounts on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like I will praise him. I will praise him. But who did this?
It looks like they almost shifted him to look like he's glaring at Macron more than he's looking at his wife embracing this girl, which is what he's this world leader, and that's a really funny picture. Holy crap, it's like mini-me.
Yes, but
Macron, you know, they're wearing suits. Their countries are all on fire and their economies are in the shitter, and he's the one that took all their money, so he can wear whatever the hell he wants. Like, he's literally the kid at the kids' table, you know, at the adults' table. It's really funny. That's a great picture.
It is, and I think we'll end this segment with this picture right here, because again, this perfectly sums up, even though it's parody, just how insane this war is and the madness and insanity that's following it. I hope this war does end, and eventually there are diplomatic peace talks. But mark my words, 10, 15 years down the road, the actions that this government has done in Ukraine will come back to haunt the American people. With that being said, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Be sure to hit that ring bell notification. We got INN in the house. Deconstructed Topics donated $10. Showing love today, as you should. Sent you links on
Thank you,
email.
Sir.
Also, this Kissinger, Newland, Hillary, and those dangerous people have some evil similar look. Good show as always. Thank you so much. Deconstructing Topics, they have their own podcast. Be sure to follow them. And yes, people, I am reading the emails. Unfortunately, I've been really bombarded with a lot of personal and other work projects that I'm doing. So I do see them. I'm only a one-man show. I just ask, please give me a minute. Just a minute. I do see them. I see them all. I also want to give a real special shout out to Roger Meadows. Roger, all the best to you, man. Keep being strong, buddy, okay? Take good care of yourself, Roger Meadows. But there we go. I also want to give a huge shout out to all the people watching us on Rumble. Yes, I got Rumble to work properly. And again, shout out to Indy, who told me how to properly run Rumble.
It was really easy. It was literally one drop-down menu. It really wasn't hard. I don't want to take a lot of credit, you know, but we've been seeing the kid had been going on his own thing, and like that we weren't getting notifications, and everybody signed up for it. So
yeah,
we fixed that. Now look at that. We got 45 people live over on the Rumbles right now. What's up, Rumble? Optimism of the Will, one of the best out there. Big shout out to Will holding it down over there. He's been on Rumble since there were 2-3 people watching, and he's always been there supporting us. So big shout out to Will out there.
Oh, by the way, Leora, I did see the AI pictures. They're quite lovely. Some of them are okay. That a lot of them have me angry and yelling at the camera like this, but it's okay. And by the way, we did see my lovely Bo Peep. My lovely Bo Peep. My Bo Peep. But I definitely have a funny video to play, but I'll save that for the end of the show because, you know, Jake Tapper, I think he's trying to make moves on my Bo Peep. I ain't gonna allow that. Oh well.
By the way, Mona Carmona in the chat. Love you, Mona.
What?
Hi, Mona.
Mona.
Jesse Jet's here. We got a big party going on.
Whoa, we got Jesse Jet. Where's Jesse Jet? That's him. Jesse, hold on. Jesse. I'm adding you as a moderator, buddy. Jesse Jet.
We got mod privileges going on. Yes, yeah, Mona. Yeah. It's Kit and Andy hanging out. I've been waiting for this for a while to help Kit do the news. Kit came on. How did we miss that? A couple of months ago. We did some stories together. It was a blast, and been hanging out a little bit in the Discords and setting up some stuff, setting up the Substack. And I'm like, look, man, we want to help. We want to work more together and do more collaboration between INN, Hardlens, and Kit's in line with that. So you're going to be seeing more stuff, collaboration happening, and we can't be more happy. It's been years, so
exactly.
Woo-hoo. Let's go.
Yeah, let's make it happen. So now I want to move on to something that look, it's not in the show notes, and it's just going to be very short because I want to get a little bit more detail on it. But I again, more information needs to be shared on this. But I believe that the Marianne Williamson campaign is finally at an end. So let's get started with the next segment of the day. This story flew under my radar. It has to do with Marianne Williamson. I know a lot of people were talking about it on their other shows, and this caught my attention because apparently a whistleblower stepped forward. Are you well aware of the NDA that a lot of people have to sign for the Marianne Williamson campaign, Indy?
Oh, of course. Well, when Peter Dow quit, we all found out about that. And Jason Call also, so they couldn't say anything. So they were being held to a standard. So, woohoo, let's find out what happened here.
Well, apparently, again, so I just want to just post what we tweeted in regards to this story. I don't know what is the worst implosion, the Titan sub or the Marianne Williamson campaign. Hey, Kyle Kalinske, Crystal Ball, UORBN, and Progressives, an apology for promoting that hack fraud, being Marianne Williamson. So what's going on? Well, these are screenshots of an individual named Jeremy Elwood. He goes on to write, and let me go ahead and read this in its full entirety. And again, you could find a couple of these links in the show notes. But Marianne Williamson, her campaign is not a campaign. It is a book tour. Here's how I know. I was the national field director. I was fired along with anyone who mentioned ballot access or field plan. Her focus is only on events and social media. I was half joking a month ago that this is a book tour. I found out the day I was fired that she has a book coming out in September. When I brought it up in a staff call that we still don't have ballot access in any state, she literally called ballot access mythical stuff. How is that mythical? How is ballot access mythical, Marianne? What are you, dumb, stupid, or dumb? Do I have to treat you like a moron? I mean, I've never.
Well, the Democrats are going to give me ballot. The Democrats are going to give me ballot.
Well, she's probably thinking
that's basically that's her plan. To get it from the Democrats.
Yeah, but the thing is, too, the Democratic Party has indicated there's not going to be any primary debates. Iowa and New Hampshire are being passed over for South Carolina. So already, if her campaign isn't flexible enough to deal with those changes, there's no way the Democrats are going to do that. Plus, again, corporate media has been dismissing her. The only media outlet that's been giving her any kind of chance to really share her views has been Fox News, but they only put her on just to goof on her. Myself and national field director and my partner, field strategist, were let go after we toiled to make a solid national field plan and had to pivot to political director roles to fill gaps so we could finish the field plan. We weren't allowed to complete our roles because of mythical stuff. Marianne, who has fired those who know how to make a campaign win, has kept and promoted those who are only event and social media aware. Book tour. Again, she has no ballot access and doesn't care. Calls ballot access mythical stuff. She fired anyone who has any semblance of the field. She promoted, again, a New Hampshire state director to campaign manager. His name is Carlos. He knows nothing about national campaigns. By the way, I've worked on nationals for the past 8 years, nor has he any experience in the field, which is what it takes to reach voters. Marianne is a grifter. Of course she is. Do not support her. She is here to sell her book coming out in September, and that is all she is here for. If she wanted to win, she would listen to the multitude of experts that were on her campaign before she fired them, giving advice and direction. I worked for her, and I am all the more sad for it because I was duped. I thought I was more aware than that. Go ahead, Marianne, shoot me a cease and desist because I will do neither. Your campaign has no hold because you are a grifting fraud. And look, just to quote Nick from RBN, here you have this rich white woman who was built up by Oprah Winfrey, who built her connections and career to, of course, Hollywood celebrities and the political elite, and then ran a piss poor campaign in 2020. Plus, there's been numerous examples of her being abused to staff members. So I will give this challenge to anyone that will interview Marianne Williamson, be it corporate media or independent media. First of all, ask her, number one, will she have her, will she dismiss the NDAs that she put on others to sign? And number two, when is she going to get ballot access in a couple of states? What's the status of her campaign getting ballot access in the numerous states that she's supposedly running in to get the Democratic nomination? Marianne, are you wasting our time? Kyle, Crystal, Vanguard, all you jagoffs, what's happening? Explain this situation to me, because I'm really trying to get this. I'm really trying to figure this thing out about her campaign. And now, in all reality, no one here who's watching the show should take this person serious. Again, Marianne Williamson keeps bleeding staff. 6 more depart in internal feud. And this was, again, on July 6th. So hours after Marianne Williamson announced the hiring of her 3rd campaign manager in 5 months, 6 staffers left her team through a round of firing and resignations. And the article goes into detail talking about a book tour. Okay, the staffers said that they were concerned that too much attention was being placed on social media and not enough getting Williamson's name on the ballot beyond New Hampshire and South Carolina. Each state has their own laws and requirements, and typically expert consultants are hired to handle the specifics to get a candidate on the ballot. During that meeting, there was just a vibe that she felt attacked and an insinuation at the end of that call that some staff were not going to make it to the end of the week, said one person with knowledge of campaign deliberations. And again, after the meeting, Williamson told staffers she felt ambushed by her own team. 2 of the 4 people, including another current staffer, told Politico, adding that she hasn't acted on their concerns about ballot access. Ballot access. She's not serious about it. She's going after everyone. And despite the firings, I just want to read this paragraph right here. There has been at least one new hire, an events coordinator who formerly worked on marketing for Williamson's business office. According to 2 of the 4 people, Williamson, incidentally, has a new book coming out at the end of summer. If you're just thinking about New Hampshire and South Carolina, then this is a grift, one person said. RBN deserves an apology by Marianne Williamson. RBN deserves an apology from the Vanguard and Crystal and Kyle. Anyone that was promoting Marianne Williamson should do an immediate apology, because until Marianne Williamson addresses these 2 things, will she dismiss the NDAs that she had her former staffers sign? And then number 2, what is her status on getting ballot access to the other states? Because if she's unable to do that, no one should legitimately look at her campaign as something to represent voters. She's not Bernie Sanders 2.0. Indy, shoot away, man.
The campaign manager is a guy by the name of Carlos Cardona. And you might have even interviewed him because he was a Bernie guy. He ran for Congress in New Hampshire 03. I believe he was trying to be a Justice Democrat. He was progressive.
What's his name again? Can you post it in the private chat and I could check on Harlan's media to see if I actually did? Okay,
I did. I sent you the Ballotpedia link as well as his Twitter handle, which is literally Cardona LeBron. That's a campaign manager? Like, that's professional.
Holy shit.
Look. He's got 31,000 followers. He's not an unserious. This is a different profile. It looks like this is what's linked on Ballotpedia, but there's no tweets from this account. I know that he had another account. It was like Cardona NH03 or something like that, or 02 or 03. No, he's been around the space for a while. He's definitely a DSA type. Nick Rivera saying in chat that Bree Joy Gray had him on, so that's not really much of a surprise because Rising also has been in the corporate independent media space. I love calling it the Breaking Points Hill Rising corporate independent media space. Hey guys, we're not really funded by corporations, but we're kind of funded by corporations and executives of corporations, but we're not really corporate media.
Okay.
But yes.
So this is the face of the new campaign manager. Hey Carlos, what's the situation with getting ballot access, buddy? People want to know.
The third campaign manager. So we know that already her campaign has been in shambles. Okay, there's been all kinds of leaks and all kinds of negative stories about her being kind of insufferable. Now there's rumors, and Misty had a tweet. I got to find it. Yesterday, Misty put up a tweet of her from 2019 before Marianne even agreed to run for, when she first announced she was running in 2019, saying, this seems like it's a ploy to sell books. And then literally the minute that she announced for 2024, it seems like a ploy to sell books. And she's side by side. And she says, I've been on this lady the whole time. It's beautiful. Brilliant. Well, shout out to Misty.
So again, look, I understand that people want to relive the magic of the Bernie Sanders campaign of 2016 and 2020. All right. I get it. All right. I truly do understand it because I remember how I felt during 2016 and to a lesser extent 2020. I got to carry the L on that one. OK, so look, I was a supporter of Bernie Sanders. I believed in his message. But as time progressed and after I saw how 2016 and then, of course, in 2020, how it all played out, I made a promise to myself, never again. And the thing is, the Bernie Sanders movement created this hopium copium for people to latch onto. And I think in regards to how 2016 and the 2020 primaries played out, people want to take on the Democratic Party again. And this time around, third time's the charm, things are going to change. Well, here's a newsflash. Bernie Sanders didn't believe in his message, okay? I was there in Philly. I saw what happened to Bernie Sanders supporters. I saw what happened to those delegates. The men and the women, including the women, were physically assaulted by all means by, again, people within the Democratic Party and the Clinton campaign. I remember the final day when Hillary Clinton was made the nominee. I saw what was happening to Green Party voters and Bernie Sanders supporters, how they were being spit on, punched, pushed. I saw that with my own two eyes. Now, again, you can ask anyone that was a delegate for Bernie Sanders in 2016, and they'll tell you something completely different than what you hear from corporate media, Vote Blue, no matter who, how there was peace and love at the convention. No, there was not. You'll find more peace and love at a Trump rally. And I know what I am saying. You'll find more peace and love at a Trump rally than anything that I saw at the 2016 Democratic Convention in Philly the night that Hillary Clinton was made the nominee. I remember that. And this isn't open for a debate, Vote Blue, no matter who. I remember Philly. And no one should ever forget that. And so I guess people want to recreate the Marianne Williamson movement as Bernie Sanders 2.0. Guess what? Like Bernie, she doesn't care. In fact, she really doesn't care. She can't take criticism. My interview with Marcel Dixon, he's asking her simple questions, and she starts foaming at the mouth, yelling at him. I want to give you the final word to you, Indy. Your thoughts on, again, people trying to create this 2.0 Bernie Sanders movement.
There is no Bernie Sanders 2.0 movement because 2/3 of Bernie Sanders movement either went with Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, or they have completely exited Democratic Party, have gone green, independent, or I'm just completely out on both parties. I'm not voting at all, and you guys can kiss my ass. Maybe I'll vote on some state ballot measures. But other than that, and maybe for senator but national office. I mean, look, unless you're a $1 billion corporation, you can't really have much effect on national politics. They're selected. They're not as so much as elected. 40 out of 50 states are pre-decided when it comes to their elected representatives. So the whole thing, I can't even get upset about Marianne's campaign imploding because it wasn't a campaign. It was a marketing campaign. And I kind of feel that way about, some other campaigns, to a point. RFK is the same thing. If you're running as a Democrat, if you're going to challenge in the Democratic Party and try to get them to run a primary, when I have now documented that the incumbent president has not been primaried in either party in more than 40 years. But everybody's running around screaming like they have to primary Joe Biden because. There literally is 40 years of precedent on both parties that if there is an incumbent president, his party will not challenge him and will hand him the nomination to run for re-election. I believe it was LBJ who resigned in 1968. I don't remember what happened in 1976 with Ford, and I think he ran for re-election against Carter and lost. But he was the incumbent president that had taken over for Nixon, who had resigned in disgrace.
Yeah, it was.
So
that's
the
actually
thing
a
about
race between them. Yeah, it was a race between Gerald Ford and Jimmy Carter, and Gerald Ford lost.
Yeah, so that's the thing about this whole discussion about running within the Democratic Party to challenge Joe Biden for a nomination. If Joe Biden isn't going to run, the party is going to select either Kamala Harris or likely Gavin Newsom, and people have been talking about that because he is a governor of the largest state and been a manager of a huge budget that is 1/6 the size of the federal economy. So he's a more natural manager. He's a terrible leader. He's a terrible person. I'm not a fan of his at all, but he's exactly who the Democratic Party would rather put in there, much more so than Mayo Pete. Mayo Pete hasn't even led a state, let alone the country. He can't even run the transportation department.
He didn't even run his own damn city. That's what Pete. Hey, by the way, that's not being controversial either. No, Mayor Pete Buttigieg was just a little yes man in the office in South Bend, Indiana. So whenever there was talk about police accountability, he called them first and asked if it's okay to set up a meeting. The mayor of South Bend. Hi, can we talk? Can we talk? That's the guy who wants to be the next president. That's the guy who's building his career in Washington, D.C. Yeah, Pete Buttigieg is a skaven, but more on that later for another day. Point is, Marianne Williamson's campaign has gone belly up. It's done for. There's nothing that myself or India said that's incorrect because, again, these are concerns that people have brought up about how Williamson has been conducting herself, how Williamson has been representing herself to voters. I am not confident in Marianne Williamson's ability to get the nomination. I think she has been grifting off of a lot of people. And if this is all about her selling her fantastic book, then she needs to drop out immediately. Because if she wants to get on the ballot, she's going to have to, guess what? Fight for it. Williamson, you were the first one to step in the ring to challenge Biden for the nomination. And this is how you want to end up. This is how you want to be remembered. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send an email out to the Williamson campaign, invite her on the show. Chances are she doesn't come on. But the two questions I want to ask her is, number one, you going to get on ballot access? And number two, these NDAs that you had your former staffers sign, are you going to have them be dismissed? Because it feels like you're holding a gun to their head. That's what it looks like to me. Now, this person has come forward and made this statement. He's NDA be damned. And I, for one, have to commend him for his courage. Any other final words on this?
Yeah. Yep. I think Sabby said that he might have even taken that post down, but screen capture forever. So we appreciate him coming forward at some point and allowing us to do that. every time this is shared, I'm guessing they're going to use this in a lawsuit against him. Marianne likely will try to sue him for some kind of defamation of character.
Oh wow!
Because
white woman
she's going to claim. Well, she's going to claim that he has no absolute, evidentiary proof court-wise to be able to say the things that he said. Is it documented? Is it this? They're going to have to depose people. It's going to be a mess. And in the end, you might find out that she was a terrible monster of a boss, but she can't have this out there as she's running for president. She's at least got to address it in some way, shape, or form. So I feel terrible for this guy, and I agree. Solidarity with him. Hopefully we can set up some type of a legal defense fund to support him, because she likely will be challenging and coming at him. But his thing is going to be like, well, you don't even have a real campaign, so how can you say that you maybe sign an NDA with a presidential campaign? This isn't. It's a book tour.
That is so freaking true. Great note to end it on. That is a goddamn good note to end it on. Holy cow. I mean, yeah, all the best to you, man. And again, stand in solidarity and don't fall for grifters, folks. With that being said, we're moving on to our next segment. Before we do, we got a couple of chats here. First of all, Carlos Von Chang. Indy, grab the hall pass. Carlos Von Chang. Crystal and Marianne will end up on OnlyFans. Get up. Go see the White House counselor. Go.
Oh, that's White House counsel. Yep.
Go see the White House counselor. Go. Let's see who else we got. Who else we got here? We got Amber Grego. Grego, good to see you. A vote for red or blue is a vote for corporate rule. Oh my goodness. See, that rhymed. That rhymed right there. We also got a YouTube super chat.
Thank you for sharing the
Go ahead.
Thank you for sharing the stream on Twitter. Twitter's broken at the moment, apparently, from what it's looking like. It's starting to come back, but thank you for everybody for sharing the stream. Like, share, subscribe, even if you can't support. Thank you. Yes. I'll do Kit's job there for him for a second, but
no, I don't mind it, dude. Hey, makes my life easier. We got a YouTube super chat from a bidding. Thank you so much. And Roger Meadows, Roger, man. All the best to you, man, okay? Seriously, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for the YouTube super chat. Yes, vote for Citizen Ballot Initiative. By George, I think they got it. Absolutely. So,
see?
hey, folks,
I've been listening.
Can we also get some mandatory thumbs up for Roger Meadows? Roger Meadows, thumbs up. Now, don't cut your thumbs off. Thumbs up for Roger Meadows, please. Do that for me. It'll be a favor. I would appreciate it if every one of you did that. So no thumbs off, just thumbs up. Thumbs up for Roger Meadows, who's doing fantastic work. By the way, folks, the show ain't over yet. We got ourselves a power show today. This is going to be an epic show, a winning show, a super show. So let's get started now. Then. Oh wait, real quick. I gotta address something. I have to call out Jake Tapper. Okay, Andy, I saw this. No one, here, Jake Tapper talking to Callan Collins about his new book. He's trying to look cool to her. I don't like this.
You do have a new book that is out today. It is fantastic. It is called All the Demons Are Here. Of course, in between anchoring two shows, this is your third installment in the series and your sixth book overall. It takes place in the 1970s, and one of your characters is a journalist. I know you've said that
one of his characters is a journalist. So the talent, Jake Tapper, is writing a story about a journalist. This is like his fantasy.
This character is kind of the one that you
come on
the most with. I mean, how do you?
He identifies as a character, so he wrote a journalist that he wants to be. I wrote a book.
When you're writing these books and you're doing,
look, I could tell that Kat is definitely just phoning it in here. She does not care because watch the face she makes as soon as Jake starts trying to act all cool talking about his book.
Through the mindset of that reporter, how do you approach it?
Well, one of the things I do when I write these books is that they're about the eras. I did a book about.
Gallen's just going through the numbers like, okay, gotta listen to this dumb book.
The 50s, a book about the 60s. This one takes place in 1977, and it is such a weird and wild time. I was only 8, so I don't really remember most of the things I write about. But
weird, wild stuff.
Yeah,
but the minute that he said that, I thought of Dana Carvey doing Johnny Carson. Weird, wild stuff.
No, or either that. I can't help but think, like, okay, dude, you're writing about an era that you didn't live in, and she's even phoning in here too. How is this news? You're interviewing one of the talent, I mean, journalists on CNN about his book on CNN. Callan, come on! I know you can get better guests than Jake. Jake Tapper. Here, let me talk about my book in the 1970s. All the demons are here. Was that an innuendo to something? Stop hitting on her.
Oh my God.
Between the rise of disco, the rise of tabloids, Studio 54, the aliens, the death of Elvis, the Evel Knievel, the prominence of this stuntman.
That's such a fake face. She's like, I can't believe I got to listen to this crap. That's my Bo Peep. That's my Bo Peep. I know. Guys, I could fix her. Indy, I could fix her. Don't criticize her, Indy. I could fix her, man. I could fix her. I could fix her, man.
It was a really.
Go ahead, buddy. What was that?
We got to unplug from corporate news, man. We got to and we need to convince everybody around us that this is poison. And I thank you for doing this, because you're showing them why it's poison. Like, this is news. They're not talking about what's happening, burning down. Hey, Canada burned down last week. Oh yeah, there was that. And you know, there's all this stuff that's going on about the Twitter files and censorship. You know, they don't want to report on that. There's all kinds of things that they certainly could report on. But let's talk about Jake Tapper's book set in the 1970s that didn't really happen. Mm-hmm.
Well, he's talking about Evel Knievel and wild and crazy stuff. Don't worry, folks. folks. Kyle could not save Crystal, but Kit can save Cat. Don't worry. Give me a break, folks. I can save
our time in the United States, and it was fun to dive into it and almost make the era its own character for people to enjoy and really take a look at how strange things were.
Okay. Again, I know she's like, okay, just can't wait for this dork to get done talking.
It's really an underratedly bizarre period in this country's history.
Yeah, it's a fantastic book. I mean, there's a lot to it, more than what we have time to discuss tonight. Everyone should read it. I am, of course, All the Demons Are Here.
She is not reading it. She's just going through the clip.
I'm not reading it. Totally didn't read any of it. Never going to read a page of it. It's absolute trash and a waste of time. Shit, that's great.
Okay, that's not that. Okay, that counts as a little commercial break here. I mean, obviously I don't have commercial breaks, but that, dude, how stupid was that? Hi, I'm Jake Tapper. Here's my book. All the Demons Are Here. Set in the 1970s. I'm writing a journalist that I wish I could be. I wish I could be this guy in my book. Stupid, man.
He literally just got a commercial on CNN for however many minutes to just drivel on and that nobody was listening to. It's basically, hey, come buy my book and here's why. And he got a nice commercial. I'm sure he didn't pay for that.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, there has to be a conflict of interest. There has to be a journalistic conflict of interest. Like, you're promoting your book on a news network, a network that is tanking in numbers. Callan, look, not to mansplain, but you got to get better guests on your show, because your show is not going to be in that prime time spot anymore, you know?
Kyle over on the Rockfin is saying you can't fix her, Kit. So I'm just warning you.
Look, hey, hold up, internet.
A man can dream. Come on.
Yeah, not only that. Hold on, internet. Hey, internet, direct eye contact. Who are we to say that things cannot happen and that the impossible cannot happen? Yes, the internet is a horrible wasteland, but you know what? Sometimes there's hope, and I'm not giving up. So give me a break. Break yourself a piece off of some love, okay? I can do it. Kyle, believe. Hey,
if James Carville can find love with a conservative, who knows? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, true love can happen. Why not?
Sure.
I'm not giving up. I could fix her. But now, folks, let's get started with our next segment of the day. So Joanne Reed and people at BSDNC are talking about rage quitting Twitter. So, Indy, when are you going to rage quit Twitter?
Oh, I'm hanging around because I just enjoy seeing who rage quits. That's fun.
Of course, but see, it's more than that. It's more than that, because apparently, according to Joanne Reed, this video segment, it has no purpose in regards to news, but they're talking about how Twitter is this violent, horrifyingly unforgiving landscape, and that people are leaving, and that, well, Twitter is now useless to them. So let's pull up this first video segment, and I have to say, like, it must be a very slow news day for these people, because they're unable to really articulate really what's wrong with Twitter. Because again, Twitter has remained the same. It doesn't matter who's running it, whether it's Jack or Elon. Nothing has truly fundamentally changed. So let's play this video. And here, this is BSDNC telling you that Twitter is such a violent place.
Might be on the slow road to obscurity, as Mark Zuckerberg's rival app Threads has surpassed 100 million users in only 5 days. Meanwhile, Twitter users are mostly left with a ranting and raving Elon Musk and lots of racists.
Lots and lots of racists. So anyone that's on Twitter is technically a racist. Anyone that's Twitter is a right-winger. Indy, you're a right-winger. I guess I'm a right-winger. RBN is a right-wing network. You know. Did you know that the Vanguard? I think someone from the Vanguard actually said that about RBN. Like they only have a white audience. So Revolutionary Blackout Network only has white racists watching their show. Can you believe that? Like somebody would actually go around and say that kind of stupid stuff. That it was the dumbest thing ever. Yes, it was the dumbest thing ever. How is that even possible? How can you say that with a straight face?
Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
Twitter Spaces. And polls like this anti-Semitic one asking if Jews control the world and are waging war on white Western society.
Okay, first of all, this could be a troll. And number two, okay, hey, you're only grabbing up one example. How many more examples are you doing? Because this is how MSNBC operates. This is how CNN operates. They only highlight the most controversial tweets, all right? They're only highlighting those that are extremely off-putting. And they did that to YouTube. How do you think we got the adpocalypse in the first time? For those who don't know, the first adpocalypse, corporate media was losing viewership to YouTube. I mean, corporate media was on the huge decline. And because people, you had some quote unquote journalists, their talent, get upset that people like PewDiePie were universally more popular than them. So they did all these smear attacks towards PewDiePie. Now, what they said about him was that he was wearing a Third Reich uniform. He was wearing a British Bombardier uniform. So again, British Bombardier uniform, Luftwaffe uniform. Two different things all together. And that's how, and again, it just gave me a short summary, but corporate media was able to bully its way on by showing extreme videos and going after more popular YouTube content creators. And that's where we're in. That's what MSNBC is doing right now, too.
Those are being allowed to stay up. Horrifyingly, half of the people who engaged with this tweet answered yes to that question. It's just one example of Twitter failing to regulate hate speech from their dues-paying blue checks, who are also spreading misinformation, with a new report showing that blue checks are fueling disinformation about the Ukraine war. Joining me now is Ben Collins, NBC News senior reporter, and my doom scrolling reporter. We just did your report on doom.
Yeah, they said you're reporting on doom, but also, again, fake news about the war in Ukraine. Okay, so what's going on? Because the New York Times and corporate media had to change their story numerous times about the Nord Stream pipeline. How many times have they changed that pipeline story about what happened to it, Indy? I don't know, what, 4 or 5 times now?
At least 3. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I overshot it just a little bit. But hey, Indy, maybe it's important that you don't know what happened to the Nord Stream pipeline. Okay, buddy? Stop asking questions and
that's what the New York Times wants you to say.
Yes, yep. Exactly.
Pretty much. But I love seeing you anyway, my friend. It does feel like, I'm just going to give you myself as an example. I'm somebody who, I stopped using Twitter quite a long time ago. I don't tweet. I don't want to give Elon any content. But every so often I would check it just as an aggregator, just to see if there's any news in there in between the Nazi tweets. After a while, I stopped doing that because it's like, I don't want to have to read through Nazi crap just to see what's in the news. Threads.
What Twitter does
Since that
she
has
look
launched,
at?
There's
What? Yeah, exactly. Like, first of all, Giant Reed, who are you following?
In between the Nazi tweets? You mean like the ones that are saying, oh, yeah, there's Nazis in Ukraine? Yeah, there's a lot of those because you don't want to report on it, Joy. Maybe that's why there's a lot of Nazi tweets. Yeah, it's not that there's like people that are fans of Nazis. It's like they're telling you, hey, you're shilling for supporting and uplifting Nazis. So maybe you should stop doing that.
Exactly. And on top of that as well, first of all, again, you know, Twitter, like any other social media platform, has an algorithm. So, Joy, are you secretly following a lot of extreme right wingers? Like that's the only way. Like your account is really being bombarded with that, and not to mention, again, you know, Joy and Reed, maybe if you kind of look back at 2019, there was a whole crap ton of articles about the Nazis being in Ukraine. You know, I mean, that was a thing. And hell, even the New York Times did an article like, hey, Ukraine, stop with that Third Reich imagery. It's making it difficult for us to lie for you. They actually did an article like that. Yeah, we actually talked about it on your show. I remember last time I was on your show, we talked about it. So stupid.
There's no reason to check Twitter anymore. All of the major NATO blogs on there, the Washington Post is on there. All of the stuff I would normally read, I can aggregate it on Threads. Twitter now is useless to me. If people like me are leaving, I don't know how Twitter survives.
Oh, because she's so important.
Oh my God.
She's so important. If I'm leaving, then Twitter is useless. But hold on, it gets better, folks. It does. It gets a lot better.
Instagram,
corporate media is imploding.
Billion people. TikTok, 1.6 billion people. Twitter was at 370 million and dropping. Snapchat, 370. Threads is only at 100 million so far. But
are those just bots? Because who knows? You know, you can have robots, replicants, to actually boost up how many people are subscribing. How many of those 100 million are authentic? What do you think?
Well, that's 3%. That's 3% of the Facebook audience. Yeah. So I can believe that. But a lot of people that are excited about Threads were never on Twitter. Like people from Twitter don't care about this and don't want to hand Mark Zuckerberg a third platform that he's going to be the most dominant worldwide. Like, how dumb do you want to be to literally hand then and Threads likely will take Snapchat within a month or two. All right. So and Twitter. So they'll have more daily. Their monthly users will be there. How engaged they are, how many times a day that they're engaged, what they're posting on there, and how they use it is also, I believe, going to be a little bit different from Twitter because the people, the personnel who are there are different.
Exactly.
It's a mess, and I'm not signed up for Threads because word is if you sign up for Threads, you don't like it and want to undo it, you then have to delete your Instagram account, and I don't want to do that. So
whoa, holy cow.
I'm out on Threads.
So wait. Well, see, first of all, I was never going to get Threads anyways because I heard it's a battery killer. That's what I heard about the app.
Mm-hmm.
If you put it on your phone, it will drain.
Well, they'll fix that.
Yeah, right. Come on. Yeah, the Zuck is going to fix problems with his platform. I mean, how many problems have there been with Facebook or Instagram? It's again, you go from one billionaire to another. Look, I'd rather hang out on Twitter and see the madness and insanity there than a quote unquote safe space bubble area. That's going to be what Threads is all about. Because what Threads is, this will be a safe space where there's no individual thinking, only sheep mentality thinking. So go with the sheep.
Per month. Is there a concern out there that maybe Zuckerberg winds up getting too much power?
Yeah. Yes.
Joy, we're not
exactly, precisely. Goofy.
So let's hand him more.
Yeah, not only let's hand him more. Hey, let's give Zuck all of our personal data. I mean, let's face it. You have done stories. We have done stories on the fact that third-party outlets are getting our private data from Facebook, Instagram, all these large social media platforms. I mean, our private identities are being handed to corporations and other individuals for nefarious needs or just to follow us. I mean, so Threads, I'm willing to bet that there's a lot of problems in Threads that will eventually cause that platform to get hacked, because knowing Mark Zuckerberg, he's going to cut corners.
Like, we are in this weird space where we just float around from one weird rich guy's platform to the next. Elon, however, he got red pilled. The guy is an internet 4chan dude now.
And God.
He got red pilled. Oh no. He got red pilled.
No, Jesse Jet got red pilled. By the way, subscribe jessejet.bandcamp.com. My favorite Jesse Jet song is called Red Pilled.
Oh,
so
shoot.
yeah, we all should be red pilled, because what it means is that you're no longer believing the illusion that corporate media is trying to sell you, the bullshit. Nice tight spot on the camera. Yes, I love you, Jesse Jet.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but the thing is too, these are individuals that are telling viewers, again, what is the age, the prominent age of people who watch corporate media? Do you know that answer, Indy?
Oh, it's 65, 60 and over, 62 and over. It's seniors mostly.
Yeah, I don't see any of those people having a Twitter account. That's nothing against people who do have the Twitter, who are in that age bracket, who do have Twitter accounts, but I see a vast majority of that audience not logging on to Twitter. Okay. And say, oh, well, okay, I guess I know better not to get Twitter now. I should get Threads. The people using Twitter the most are people below the age of 62, especially a lot of young people. And Twitter is a very popular social media platform. All right. And whatever criticism you have of Elon Musk, he is making some improvements to it, but he's also doing some things that are kind of, out there.
He is making his
he's breaking it. He's censoring people. Yeah.
So more or less nothing has fundamentally changed.
Worse.
The rate limiting thing. Elon's not helping himself in any way, shape, or form. I personally have been moving further over to Substack Notes. I think that is, first of all, Substack, and nobody wants to talk about that because that is the corporate media killer. It's a user subscriber based platform that allows content creators to engage directly with their audiences without the filter of corporate media, without anybody actually getting in between and trying to craft that message and change that narrative. So
precisely.
Yeah, exactly. Go on about Twitter. It's let's I know this sort of
the
corporate media clown.
The fear mongering gets better.
You are confronted with videos of people getting murdered at the very least, or people replying to you that you didn't even know existed and you really don't want to. And maybe they don't because there's really no bot checking anymore. So I don't love this. This is the reality that we're in right now. But everyone is sort of planting their flag all throughout the internet.
I don't love this. I wish I could be where all this other sheep are at. Why am I going through this? The pain of going through social media.
Because we're in a new era.
Well, because he's been told that Elon is the devil.
Yes.
That's why. He's doing this because he's been sold a narrative that Elon is more dangerous or more censorious than Jack. The one thing I will say is that Elon has purged 87% of Twitter's staff. So, and he's saying that they did nothing, but there's no way that you build a $40 billion company on 1,000 employees, number one, not 8,000 that were working there. Certainly there must have been bloat and waste and hiring people that they were either hiring them to keep them away from Google or Facebook or Apple or another talented company. They had acquired their company and they were looking to, they had a contract to keep them under employment for a certain amount of time. They basically stuck them in a closet and said, hang out and do whatever you want for a while and help us run this thing. But we've got it from here. That happens sometimes too, and keep their mouths shut. You know,
I can answer your question in regards to why all those people were fired. Okay, so here's the thing: Twitter under the previous management under Jack Dorsey, we did a story about this a while ago. Eventually, Jack Dorsey did like a hands-off approach and let his underlings kind of run the whole show, which is why Twitter was really ramping up the censorship. Again, Elon Musk is doing that to other people too, but I would kind of make an argument that before Musk it was up to an 11, all right? And it's kind of been dialed down by that much, and then that's it, all right? Nothing has really changed that much. Because, again, we still see censorship, we still see suppression, but a lot of those people that were hired were just there to fill a quota, And number two, a lot of those people weren't even working. I mean, if you want to see something that will boil your blood, Indy, just look out for videos. I think this would have to be months before Elon bought Twitter. My day working at Twitter, or my day working at YouTube, or my day working at Instagram. You're seeing people, or about my day working at Google. You're seeing these people drinking a latte, going to their job, and it's like adult daycare. Okay, like there's massage areas, there's food that is probably better than I can ever buy, right? And it's there
free,
free, and so many other bells and whistles. I mean, it is something that will get you angry, because the people who are narrating this video is like, oh, I'm at work, we had a meeting, then we went to Pilates, then when I got my neck massage, then I drank this nice little shake, and then I saw this little thing here that promoted LGBTQ rights or other kind of social justice issues, and we talked about it, and then, oh my God, work is so hard, and then we went to the bar and we had some drinks, and then that's it. Like, you want to see something that'll boil your blood, it's videos like that. It's adult daycare. That's what Twitter was. Go ahead.
And they're listed as Twitter, Google, Facebook, Meta. They're all listed as the top 50 employers in the country to work for, because they offer these kind of perks and this kind of comfort to once you get to a certain level. Don't work as one of the grunts in the field. Don't work as an Amazon package handler, because you're certainly not going to have that kind of an experience.
Well, it gets even better than that, because, like, here's the thing, like, at least if you've ever tried to reach out to tech support for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, I mean, good luck getting a person. I mean, when we were being censored on YouTube, I wish Daniel was here. Hey, Dan, what's it like getting in contact with a human being at YouTube? And Dan's gonna be like, that's.
He was here in chat, actually.
Yeah. Exactly. So, but the thing is, like, reaching an actual physical person is a near impossible task on YouTube. It is very tough to do. And if you could pull it off, you got that small window of opportunity to plead your case. Anyway, let's continue on with this with these two adult pretenders crying about Twitter being not a safe space anymore.
The great reset of social media, where everyone is going to find these new spots and figure out which ones they like best and why they posted this one and not that one. Maybe you post a spill, maybe you post a blue sky for this sort of thing. Maybe that sandwich that you liked isn't meant for Twitter anymore. Maybe it's meant for somewhere else.
Oh, your sandwich isn't good on Twitter.
But that's where we're all headed. The problem is now, of course,
fragmentation,
sort of the issue that we have going forward. How do we determine which one of these is important politically, right? How do we determine which user base has power politically and is driving people to the polls, and is why is Ron DeSantis spending his time at this place? And why is Joe Biden's team spending his time at this place, right? That's going to be a new thing that we all have to learn. Problem is, it's a little bit more closed off than it used to be. And that's in part because it's Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, here's the thing. No one cares. But hold on. They go on to be crying even a little bit more. They start talking about the Twitter files. Shout out to Matt Taibbi, who was speaking truth to power and did something that Joanne Reed would never do.
Twitter still is a dangerous place in terms of disinformation. We know there's lots of disinformation.
Dangerous.
It's all dangerous. Hey, to my viewing audience,
it's bad for you.
Don't go to Twitter. There's racists, there's misogynists, there's sexist, there's people
Nazis in between the Nazi posts.
That's right. There's trolls. There's a lot of bad things. Your feelings will get hurt. So remember, folks, don't go to Twitter. You won't be safe. Keep your head on a swivel.
There's lots of Nazi stuff on there, but I wonder if it concentrates it so much that the right wingers get bored of talking to each other, right? When Twitter is Getter, they don't want to be on there. They want to be where the liberals are because they want to own the libs, and they can only do that in places where normal people are.
No.
And I wonder if they start trying to infect and
again.
Oh my God.
Again, they're going to try and infect Threads now. So in other words, okay, I'm going to reach out to what the percentage of my audience that's conservative or Republican. So what MSNBC is saying to conservatives, I'm going to add in libertarians, Trump supporters. I mean, if you're a Trump supporter, you watch this show, hey, awesome. We have yet to have a Republican on our show. But nonetheless, what they're saying is Now that everyone's going to Threads, or the liberals are going to Threads, you guys have to go there too. So sort of making you like these stalkers, these people that are just going to be stalking you like, oh, we're the normal people. We gotta trigger them. That's how MSNBC is trying to present conservative, Republican, libertarian, Trump supporters out to be, into stalkers, into something that's inhuman. If that's not insulting, I don't know what is. It's on par with Hillary Clinton with the word deplorable.
Impact Threads the same way, and whether there are enough guardrails to keep them from coming over there. Because that's one thing I've noticed. They don't like talking to each other. They want to talk to normal people, and they can only do that if they break out of their closed platform.
By the way, Indy, what's a normal person?
Well, this they stuff is really dangerous, and then these Joy then turns around and says that other people are divisive. She is projecting, she is making a whole person up that doesn't like to engage with their own friends, but would rather spend time on social media platforms where liberals are trolling liberals, because that's what actually is helping anything. No, it's because Joe Biden's the one in power, and they're actually trying to challenge the people that support him into not supporting him going forward. I don't understand why this is so difficult for people to understand. When Trump was president, they weren't screaming at liberals on Twitter. No, the liberals were screaming at them, and then they were fighting, saying what they were saying. But it was a whole different kind of conversation than this. This is, hey, you've got a corrupt guy in the White House. We've got evidence that's the case. You had somebody who has credibly accused him going back 30 years of sexual misconduct. There's so many things on top of his actual congressional, Senate, president, and vice presidential record just being monstrous.
Agreed.
And not accomplishing anything, and never being the number one leader until they gave him the job. I mean, who could have figured that a 79-year-old guy who had never been the leader of anything couldn't run the country? Huh, about that.
Come on, Jack. You're being too harsh and critical of the vote blue no matter who and the liberals. Come on, take it easy. Take it easy on them, buddy.
And get on to the ones where normal people are.
Again, what's the normal people? What is a normal person? Tell me what a normal person is, Joanne Reed.
Somebody that watches MSNBC and goes to bed at 11 o'clock at night every night and never watches independent media or YouTube or anything else.
No, you're way off. It's 11 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock at night. Okay, 9 p.m. Man, that's the anything past 9 p.m. Those are crazy hours according to liberals.
Yeah, it's the ever-repeating story of the internet.
Except that's when Rachel's on and Lawrence is on. So, no, they have to stay up till 11 for MSNBC's crappy ratings.
But see, here's the thing. Even MSNBC's losing. I mean, let's face it. All of corporate media is hemorrhaging. Fox News is still like, what, in the top eight spots? I mean, Fox News will be I'm going to make this prediction. Fox News will be the last of the corporate media outlets to fall. CNN will be the first one, and then MSNBC and all the rest. Fox News will be the last one standing.
He's gone.
Look, we showcase independent media on.
Go ahead, dude.
On how do we miss that? Like, corporate media has tons of people that are talking about it, sharing about it. We showcase and amplify independent content creators. We don't necessarily watch as many videos. Mostly, we're doing articles that are written by outlets. But yeah, let's finish up with MSDNC here.
Yeah, let's finish this up here because
Ben
again,
Collins, he's so gross.
Where they find themselves to be safe, comfortable to have regular conversations with their friends. And then those places become cool or interesting, and people want in on those conversations. They want to become part of that community. They become bigger and bigger. And then eventually they become so big that some people with unpopular opinions start to think there's a conspiracy as to why they're getting shut down. Sometimes, for example, they create these things called the Twitter files, where they launch GOP congressional investigations to find out why these things are happening. But it turns out maybe their opinions are just not something that people want to listen to. And it's not censorship. It's just, the way it is.
The way
it's
what
not
is?
What? It's you. Sorry, right ringers.
Oh,
Ben Collins.
Oh,
gaslight.
Oh, what a jagoff. Seriously. No. I'm sick and tired of this crap of, see, they're just right wing. They're just right-wing people, and they're bad people, and we got to be triggered by them. And sorry, right-wingers, I guess the facts are not on your side. Where the hell do they get off talking to us like that? So I want to pull up this video here. Now, again, to be clear here, just in case Vote Blue, no matter who, or BSDNC want to get triggered by this, or any liberal Democrat, this is a video that was made by Turncoat Don. Again, Matt Taibbi was not on MSNBC, but I think it's a perfect example of what would happen if there was finally somebody with integrity who was put on MSNBC to finally tell the truth. Because let's talk about the Twitter files really are. All right. And Matt Taibbi did a fantastic job. And all these quote unquote talent, I mean journalists, I mean talent that work at BSDNC and CNN wish they could do even a fraction what Matt Taibbi did.
I think the major revelation of the Twitter files so far is that we've discovered an elaborate bureaucracy of what you might call public-private censorship. Basically, companies like Twitter had a system by which they received tens of thousands of requests for action on various accounts, typically through the DHS and the FBI, but these requests were coming from basically every agency in the government. We've seen them from the HHS, from the Treasury, from the DOD, even from the CIA, and they will send basically long lists of accounts in Excel spreadsheet files and ask for action on those accounts. And in many cases, Twitter is complying. Yeah, it's funny, as I was reading these tens of thousands of emails, we would put them into different buckets. So this might be a First Amendment particular issue over here. This might be a revolving door question over here. But then over here, we had a bucket called improper asks. And there you might see something like the FBI asking for user identification or IP addresses or handles. And in some cases, even things like geolocation of individual accounts. Now, the problem is we don't always see the other side of these transactions, but we can definitely see the government asking for these things. So these are things that they're not entitled to, usually without a subpoena or without a warrant, but they're asking for them anyway because they have a very close relationship with these companies. And in some cases, we're not talking about a few accounts, we're talking about thousands of accounts where they're asking for handles or IP addresses or other,
including Tara Reid.
That I think is very
INN's Tara Reid.
Very dangerous.
No wonder.
No wonder. That's from Soul Man, by the way. That's no wonder.
Sorry, I didn't mean to remove you there, but yeah, no, it is rather shocking that that's something that's taking place with corporate media, because again, corporate media can't have somebody like Matt Taibbi on their show because he was speaking the truth about the Twitter files. Now, to be clear, he was on Fox News when he shared this. Plus, he's also been on the Jimmy Dore show talking about the Twitter files and what they represent. But corporate media, people like Joanne Reed, people at BSDNC, want to, again, cause their audience to be afraid, divide Americans, and define what is a normal person and what is not a normal person. So here's what I'm going to say as a final note for this story. I am proud of the fact that I have such a diverse audience watching Hardlands Media. We have libertarians who watch this show. We have Greens who watch this show. We have conservatives. Dare I say it, maybe occasional Trump supporter here and there, progressives, Democrats, and people who are just burnt out by electoral politics. Now, again, we all each share each other's opinions. None of us are ever going to think the same. But let me be very clear. There is no such thing as a defined normal person. Each one of us are unique. We have different perspectives and points of view. And for far too long, corporate media has divided us. Corporate media has put us into these little bubbles that are causing us to go to war with each other. Look, across the bat, Americans are being screwed over. Corporate media and the two-party system have done a phenomenal job in dividing us. And I think it's long overdue we wake up. Now, we're not all going to agree with each other, but I think we can universally agree that corporate media is a poison that is crippling us, causing us to lose our ability to think critically and maybe see another side of the view, another perspective. So don't let the media define you. Don't let it bully you. And if you're hearing somebody saying, I'm going to go to Threads just to go to a safe space, maybe try and talk to that person and say, well, wait a minute. Why are you being pushed into the threads? Who's telling you to do this? Who's giving you those orders? Indy, any other final thoughts?
I got a couple things. First off, thank you. So I wrote a Substack about this, literally called Our New Mission is to Unplug from Corporate Media. Go to indiemedia.today. It's literally the featured article. Also, Threads, they're curating and serving you a news feed that they decide what they're showing you, and you have no control over that. And you can't filter, you can't see just the people that you're following. There's a lot of they're forcing you into seeing what they want you to see versus you seeing and curating the news feed that you should be seeing, that you want to see, that are the sources that are important to you, that you trust. I don't trust Facebook and the corporations. And this is what the Twitter files was about, was that the corporations that these third-party NGO entities that are deeming that there are certain accounts that are Russian or that are feeding disinformation, they're completely corporate funded, and they have an agenda to cancel out anyone that is questioning that narrative. And that's why Joe Loria and Consortium News and Truth Out and other Indie Media Award honorees and recipients have been censored and have been targeted and have had their PayPals cut off. Mint Press News famously has been targeted over and over again because they are challenging and providing the alternate narrative. It's not alternative facts. It's the actual facts that are undoing the narrative that the NATO countries are trying to spin. And corporate media are the biggest purveyors of that. We need to unplug from it, and we need to convince everyone around us to do it. We literally, like, my kids will watch YouTube stuff and Disney Plus. I don't want to watch any of that stuff. Like, I'm down here working on this stuff and watching independent media and helping independent creators basically from the minute I wake up till the minute I go to sleep. But that's me. That's not I don't expect everybody to do that. But to understand, when you're watching corporate media, what agenda are they spinning? Okay. What are they leaving out from the story? And why are they presenting the part of the story that they are presenting? If you can at least convince people to start thinking about those three things when they watch a corporate news story, that's a big win. Because they're going to start questioning their motivations. And that's what we need to start doing.
That's a good note to end it on. Folks, walk out of your bubbles. Talk to your neighbors. Let's try and break down the barriers that corporate media put around us, because it just doesn't work to keep us divided. We have to work together. With that being said, folks, I want to bring up something, okay? Now, look, Indy, Bad Cookies has made, Bad Cookies, one of our viewing audience members, has made a remark that I laughed when a submarine imploded on Raise the Titanic. Have you seen Raise the Titanic?
No, I have not, but I know that you showed it last Thursday or 2 Thursdays ago. Last Thursday was Fight Club, right?
Yeah, last Thursday. Oh man, Fight Club was great. This Thursday, 8 p.m. Central movie night. We're watching Blade Runner 2049 on Rumble. Okay, so that's what's happening. But okay, I might have sort of smirked a little when the submarine imploded in the film Raise the Titanic, right? Just a little bit. It's not true. It's not true, Bad Cookies. Mastermind laughing at tragedy. It's the Chicago way. So let me go ahead and pull this up here, okay? Because something else happened. Because apparently the rocket of Jeff Bezos, Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin rocket engine explodes during testing.
Oh,
I know. To which I have to say, no implosion, LOL.
I would only say I'm sorry he wasn't inside, but that's a terrible thing to say. You can never say that. That's in a video game, folks, in a video game.
So, but again, it's Kyle was writing, Kit, you busted a gut. Hey, look, man, I wasn't expecting that scene to happen, okay? Because I made a remark like, oh, wouldn't it be crazy if the submarine imploded? You know, because there's because obviously the Titan tragedy, you know, happened, right? But all of a sudden, in the scene, the water starts seeping in through the submarine. The guy's like, "Oh, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here." And I'm thinking, "Oh, Jesus, is the submarine really going to implode?" And then kaboom, it does. It freaking implodes. I was caught off guard.
Well, either that or you are just that sage and wise. I'm not sure which one.
Yeah, and by the way, okay, the only reason why I'm calling it a tragedy, though, is because I feel sorry for the kid who was on the boat. I'm not on the boat, but in the submersible, okay? He did that just to make his dad happy, and apparently he had a lot of reservations getting on it, so that's the only person I really feel sorry for, the kid, you know? Yeah, that's... by the way, have you seen the reports on just how fast that implosion was and what really happened to them? Like, I know there was talk about human remains being found in a submersible. That is questionable. What type? Yeah, no, because again, the amount of pressure and what happened inside the submersible and outside, they were turned into more or less paste. That's what they were turned into. There might be maybe a bone fragment.
Yeah.
Because what some of the experts were talking about was the submersible. They had, again, it was made out of carbon fiber, and yeah, it can be a strong material, but as soon as its first dive in, all that pressure, those micro fissures, those micro cracks are happening. So it was only a matter of time for that thing, you know, cracked in on itself. So not only was there a heated explosion inside the submersible, but there was also all the shard material from the carbon fiber going in. So you have an implosion happening inside. You have the pressure coming inwards. Nothing can remain of the human body after that. That was bad.
You had White Gladys outside too.
Oh, of course. Well, no, White Gladys was just sipping on some wine, saying, "Just as planned."
That's right. That was jelly. That was jelly for their bread.
Strawberry jelly for their bread.
Yep. Ooh. Wow. Raspberry.
Yeah, raspberry jam for their salmon. Yeah. No, there's actually a report. Somebody did because I played this video at the end of the show about killer whale behavior, and apparently there was this one killer whale that would kill salmon and purposely leave it on its head like it was wearing a hat or something.
Wow.
So Roger Meadows tipped $2.
Nobody said they were dumb.
No, man. Those whales are smart. Roger Meadows tipped $2. Joy stole my talking point. She took me saying, if black millennials and Zoomers leave the Democratic Party, how will the Democratic Party survive? I feel your blood pressure going up watching this, guys. Go to the nurse's office and run a citizen ballot initiative for single payer. Twitter's a violent place. Did Jason Voorhees jump out of a Twitter post with a machete or a gang of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles try to assassinate Joy? By the way, to Roger Meadows' point, the Ninja Turtles in their first comic, they were stone cold killers. They murdered the Shredder in the first issue. People don't know that. The Turtles killed Shredder. So the original Teenage Mutant, Roger Meadows, watch the Take Kit. You too, Indy. Next week, Roger, next Thursday, the Take. I'm going to do that for you. Plus, Roger Meadows, I hope you're doing well. All the best to you. Mandatory thumbs up for Roger Meadows in the chat. Please also be sure to hit that like button. It does help us out with the YouTube algorithm. So I'm making a change to the show notes here because a recent story just broke, and it's from Jacobin. So we got some time because I do want to get to talk about the Trump not wanting to debate and Tucker Carlson hosting the Republican primary debate. So let's get started with this next segment of the day. Okay, I'm going to bring her up one more time. We're going to talk about AOC, and apparently Jacobin is a little bit triggered. They're upset about AOC, or AOC, how I call her, not donating, but endorsing Joe Biden. So first of all, Indy, I want to get your take on AOC. And then, of course, obviously earlier in April, Bernie Sanders endorsing Joe Biden. Your thoughts before I delve into this Jacobin article. What are your thoughts on AOC endorsing Joe 30330?
We were abandoned years ago, and it's not really a surprise. It's a disappointment, but it's just further confirmation that they are just Democrats. There is no such thing as Justice Democrats. They are just Democrats, which
just us.
We knew. Bernie Bernie and his friend Joe. Unfortunately, I'm worried that we're going to see that out of RFK. We're certainly going to see that at some point out of Marianne, because they're running as Democrats. They wouldn't be running in the Democratic Party if they weren't going to eventually endorse Joe. So not surprising. I'm proudly blocked by Jacobin on Twitter because they're garbage as well. But let's hear what they have to say and why they're butthurt about their girl AOC. And maybe they're finally realizing 3 years late that these people were never really in their corner or represented them.
Precisely. Exactly. And I also want to pull this up here too, because again, this kind of represents the vote blue, no matter who mindset, Democrats, liberals, and so much more. So for those of you who can't see it, everyone's still sick and unemployed. 2021. Biden inherited this mess from Trump. Give him some time. 2022. Biden still hasn't helped us. He wants to, but Republicans won't let him vote Democrat in the midterms. 2023. Dying here. Republicans picked up more seats. Maybe Biden should have spent more political capital 2 years ago. And then 2024. This is the most important election ever. You have to vote, or Ted Cruz will make America even more racist or fascist. Oh my goodness gracious, Cretaceous. It's like it's the end of the world.
There's nobody to vote.
Who?
How about that?
Exactly.
So at the end there, they were literally yelling at a grave to not vote for Ted Cruz because they waited so long for healthcare and for housing and for food and for addressing any of the problems structurally here in the United States, instead of giving $100 billion to Ukraine in the last year, that they're no longer available and they actually didn't make it.
So then AOC,
Biden 2024. Wait, where am I?
So that no, where am I, Jack? Where's the ice cream? So AOC shouldn't have endorsed Joe Biden, according to Jacobin, because Jacobin is triggered. Leading left-wing politicians, I wouldn't even call them that, including Bernie Sanders, the cuck, Ilhan Omar, and most recently, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, also known as AOC, have already endorsed Joe 30330, even though primary voters haven't yet had their say, and most Democrats in polls don't even want him to run. A few days ago, Democratic Socialist Congresswoman AOC became the latest in a string of prominent progressive politicians to endorse Joe Biden's bid for re-election. One of her fellow squad members, Minnesota's Ilhan Omar, endorsed Biden almost a month ago when AOC wasn't quite ready to join her. Bernie Sanders endorsed him, like the cuck that he is, way back in April. I hated the months of April. I hated April. I hated everything from January to April of 2023. Those are the worst 4 months of this year. I will never look back at them fondly. But why? Why should any of them endorse Joe Biden right now? It would be one thing if this were the late 2024 and the country was facing an immediate choice between Biden, Donald Trump, or Biden and DeSantis. And there was a real danger that the greater evil would win. So they're doing this, lesser and greater evil. Let me let you all on a little hint who's watching this show.
God.
There's no such thing as greater evil or lesser evil. Evil is the same across the board. Okay? So if somebody's coming at me with a knife and someone's coming at me with a gun, both have the intent to hurt me. No, neither one of those two individuals has an ounce of good in them. They're trying to hurt me. So this lesser evil, greater evil is nothing but fear and scare tactics that they want to do to voters. Right now, though, we're several months away from the first primaries. Okay, so big deal. Socialist politicians should be articulating a clear alternative to the business-as-usual centrism of Biden. That's not going to work. Or other leading Democrats. That's not all they should be doing, of course. They should also work toward concrete reforms that will make life better for working-class people. You're actually writing, the rent must have been due. This is an article titled "The Rent Was Due" in here, and now admittedly, these goals are sometimes in tension, but it's hard to see long-term way forward for the left that doesn't start with being very clear about the fact that leftists and centrists aren't on the same team. That's not according to AOC.
Yes.
Oh, what a dumbass. The rent was due.
Who wrote this?
Ben Burgess.
Ben Burgess. Oh my God. Ben Burgess wrote this. Okay. He knows because he's the centrist. He knows that the left and the center aren't on the same team. He's been one of the biggest defenders of these clowns in the first place.
Ben Burgess. Oh, AOC, you should do this. So look, a strong signal of Democratic unity. The Associated Press headline about AOC's decision to endorse Biden called it a strong signal. No, it was a weak, impotent signal, okay, of Democratic unity. But how united are Democrats on a second Biden term? None of us are. Just before Biden kicked off his re-election bid in late April, one poll found that 73% of Americans didn't want the president to run again. He's 80 years old. He's an old man. He needs to go to a retirement home. His son is addicted to that booger sugar, okay? They found that booger sugar in the White House. I mean, seriously, not to mention scandal after scandal around this administration. Hey, Indy, just off the top of your mind, can you name some problems that have been getting worse under Joe Biden's administration? I mean, obviously, according to corporate media, they're saying that everything's all great under Biden. What has exactly happened under the Biden and Harris administration? Just right off the bat, can you shoot a couple of things?
Well, we've overfunded cops. The wealth gap's gotten greater. They kicked 1 million people off Medicaid. They promised $2,000 checks and gave us $1,400. Tried to gaslight us that it was actually $2,000. Didn't raise the federal minimum wage to $15. Though they did raise it for federal employees, and I will give them credit there. They did not get Congress to do that when they had a majority in both houses. They couldn't whip their rotating villain into shape. They couldn't make any kind of threat that stuck. And then they funded Ukraine Nazis to the tune of $130 billion in the last 16 months. So other than that, we're doing great. Now, the other thing is again, Ben Burgess is still trying to sell this narrative that there should be a primary in the first place. And my contention is, again, in the last 40 years, no incumbent president has ever been challenged from within his party. And to expect this whole narrative around, we need to challenge Joe Biden. The Democrats are nominating Joe Biden if he's breathing. If he's breathing, even if he's got dementia, they're going to nominate him.
You know, another thing here, too, again, with the whole nomination process, you know, the Democratic Party has already made it abundantly clear that there will not be a debate. So let's say Bernie Sanders decided to throw his hat in the ring. Bernie's still not going to be debating Joe Biden. There will be no debate. So all this talk about, oh, they shouldn't have endorsed Joe Biden. Well, AOC is following orders. Plus, on top of that, too, I just want to add in here, hey, Ben Burgess, are you going to talk about the fact that Roe v. Wade died under this administration, affirmative action died under this administration, $20,000 of student debt forgiveness never happened. In fact, the Biden-Harris administration were never going to fight for it. We got trains derailing. We got corrupt officials in the administration. We have, again, an economic crisis. Americans are being kicked out of their homes and apartments. So, yeah, things are not all great within the Democratic Party. And if you're a progressive thinking that this party can be reformed, good luck. As Nathan Robinson points out in Current Affairs, before Biden's announcement, we were seeing headlines like Democrats coalesce around Biden 2024 run as re-election decision looms. So wait a minute. There's all this talk. So no matter what's going to happen, all the Democratic lawmakers are going to rally around Biden. Now, again, what I find interesting is that doesn't mean Biden won't win the renomination. Oh, yes, it does.
What?
Because the DNC.
Okay.
Go ahead. Take it away, buddy.
The donors also want him. The donors want him on top of the rest of the party. So you've got all the party heavies and the power brokers on top of the donors that want all this to happen. Follow the money, guys. Your wishful thinking isn't going to impact anything here. And again, they're trying to sell ink. They're trying to sell ad space. They're trying to get you to read their stuff. But this whole thing is meaningless and irrelevant. And no, this is not abandoning democracy. There is no party that has an incumbent president in the last 40 years that has had their president challenged for re-election. And they know that a current incumbent president has the best chance of being reelected. As badly as he's done, he's going to win on name recognition alone over anybody else. Williamson, even a Kennedy name. When was the last time a Kennedy was elected nationally anywhere? It's been a long time.
It is.
So my contention is they're just going to put Biden up.
They not only will they do that, but again, there's plenty of legal documentation showing that the Democratic Party is admitted to a private institution. They could pick up or select who they want as their nominee. So that means, let's say in the off chance scenario, because I'm going to dismiss her, Marianne Williamson's campaign is dead in the water. Let's say in the off chance scenario, RFK Jr. were to potentially win the nomination. The DNC legally has within its right to say, we don't accept the results. Then, of course, you got to add in the superdelegates, and they could still have Biden be the winner after the Democratic Convention in 2024 that will be taking place here in Chicago. So no matter what happens, even if there was a big name progressive, let's say AOC put on her big girl pants and decided to run, or it was Bernie Sanders or some other progressive or some other Democrat, right? Quote unquote progressive. Let me be very clear on that. Quote unquote progressive. It still wouldn't matter. There's not going to be a debate. And so then the article goes on to say the only two candidates who have are RFK Jr. and Marianne Williamson, widely derided as conspiracy theorists with unsavory associations and a suspicious amount of Republican support. Well, look, I may not agree with everything that RFK Jr. is saying, but he's doing something that's politics 101. Reaching out to all voters. Politics 101 is convincing everybody across the political spectrum that you are the better candidate. But then again, I digress. Continue on. It's currently hard to see how Kennedy could get enough Democratic support to dethrone the Democratic incumbent, even one who isn't inspired much enthusiasm among Democratic voters. Williamson has forced
right, but that's not what he's trying to do. Wait, stop. What he's trying to do is pull over Republicans and non-vote and disaffected independents to vote for him in the Democratic Party and overwhelm the people that are actual Democratic voters. Some of the Democratic voters will go with him, but most of them have been poisoned against him by corporate media and big pharma. Now, he's been getting a fair shake on Fox News, and Fox News has more Democratic viewers than MSNBC does. And nobody likes to talk about that fact, but especially in prime time, more people are watching. Well, I don't know about now, but when Tucker was there until recently, Fox News had been the number one viewed network among Democrats, especially, and Tucker was beating out Rachel in the time slot.
Oh, of course, man. He had the most popular show ever. You see, the thing is, again, we're a little bit off track here, but I'm glad you brought up Tucker. And the thing is, what Tucker Carlson did for his show is he had progressives and independents, people who were not traditional Democrats or conservative Republicans, and he let them talk. He let, unlike I would say Bill O'Reilly, right? He would let his guests talk and share their perspectives and points of view. Hell, I think it was Jimmy Dore that changed his mind about Julian Assange. He had Jimmy Dore on, Tulsi Gabbard, Dr. Cornel West, Max Blumenthal. I believe he had Aaron Mate on, Glenn Greenwald. I think even Matt Taibbi a few times. So, I mean, again, these are people where if they were on MSNBC would not be allowed to speak, or is it if they were being interviewed, let's say by somebody like Bill O'Reilly, they would be shut down. Tucker was able to have his platform open. And the thing is, by having those different people on, that also tuned in for other people across the political spectrum. Check out Tucker Carlson's show, which is something I have to commend and salute to RFK Jr. for actually reaching out to other voters to maybe support him in the primary. Now, again, if you are an RFK Jr. supporter, look, I'm not going to vote Democrat, but you better start pulling out that notepad, brewing some coffee, and taking notes of everything that happened to Bernie Sanders in 2016, to what happened to him in 2020, and how Tulsi Gabbard was smeared in 2020, okay? Take the notes and document everything, because the election fraud that the DNC is going to be doing will be click, copy, paste. So document everything. That's the only thing I'll tell you what to do. And yes, Hardlands Media will be covering the convention here in Chicago. Continuing on, Williamson has forthrightly for progressive positions. Oh, she's writing a freaking book, you jagoff, on issues like labor rights.
Now, my question to you, Kit.
Yeah.
My question to you is the Chicago convention, is it actually going to be like anything other than a coronation? Anything other than a 4-day ass-kissing celebration, like complete gaslighting of the entire world over how rah-rah great Joe Biden is, when we all know that the complete opposite is true? Wow. I give you credit for wanting to cover that.
Well, I mean, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, obviously, right off the bat, anybody who's anybody within the Democratic Party is going to be there. This is going to be a major event. And while this is not related to the article, I mean, let's face it, Hardlands Media, we are an independent media network here in Chicago. This is our backyard. It would be odd if we didn't cover it. I know a lot of people are burnt out by electoral politics, but because this is happening in my backyard, I feel I'm socially contracted to actually, cover this, because again, it's an important event, because there won't be just the vote blue no matter who people. There'll obviously be protesters and people who are against the establishment. And look, ideally, I hope that the convention is a contested convention, that RFK Jr. does follow through, is what he said on News Nation, that, you know, he will go all the way to the end of the convention. I want to interview some of those RFK Jr. supporters. And yes, I want to interview some of the Vote Blue No Matter Who people, because I think it's important for the viewers to see that maybe this could be the beginning of the end of the Democratic Party. And I say this because, look, voters are not impressed with Biden. He is showing himself to be a senile old bat. AOC, I know that you see the videos. I know that you see Biden stuttering and stammering, but yet somehow out of the blue, you're thinking, what? He's doing great with the ebbs and flows, that he's exceeding expectations. If Roe v. Wade died under Trump, AOC, I know that you would be leading the protests right now, be it through the winter, be it through the summer, be it through fall or spring. You, AOC, would be on the streets or tweeting consistently about how we need to protect a woman's right to choose. But you didn't do that under Biden. So again, somehow, you've once again revealed to the whole world that you were always going to be a corporate sellout, and you're falling in line with the Democratic Party. So what I hope from this convention that we see in Chicago is that maybe it'll be a contested convention. I hope it's not the snore fest that happened in 1996 when the Clintons won the nomination, because that was a snore fest. I don't know, or maybe
even 2012.
Yeah,
you know, with Obama, it was literally just a celebration of Obama for 3 days. It was basically like a big birthday party for him. I don't want to see something like that for Joe Biden. I think that it is important for you to go cover it at Hardlands, by the way. I wasn't saying that it's not important to cover it. I was just giving you a lot of credit for wanting to. Well, but it is important to provide the independent perspective and holding them accountable to say, here's what's really happening. They're saying this, but here's what's really going on, and here's why what they're saying isn't true. And I think that it's important for you and for Hardlands to be there to do that. And I commend you for that for sure.
Yeah, no, but I have gotten a few messages like, why do you want to cover it? I mean, it's obviously it's a big political event, but it's all again. I hopefully we can get enough resources to get some new gear and equipment so that we can properly document everything and film everything and do proper live streams and find out what's going on the ground. It's obviously there'll be a lot of confirmation, like, yeah, the DNC is just once again one big corporate circle jerk, but it's important for people to see just how the institution of the DNC, the Democrats, are inherently corrupt, and there's no way possible to ever reform that political party. So AOC endorsing Joe Biden too soon, it comes as no surprise to me. But I guess Ben Burgess is like, no, AOC, keep the powder dry. And then at the end, endorse Joe Biden. Only at the end, because Orange Man bad. Look, folks, I really don't care how you're going to vote during this election cycle. Vote how you feel like, okay? But I, for one, will not be voting Democrat or Republican. I'll be voting independent. And what we should take away from this is that never hero worship these politicians. I know AOC inspired a lot of people. She made a lot of people happy when she won in 2018. But that person who we saw won and the person we see now, it was all one big lie. Smoke and mirrors. She was never going to raise the ruckus. And if you do, well, at least what happened to Jose Vega, she told him, you're being rude. Don't raise the ruckus on me. You're being rude, which is says a lot. So you can't reform the Democratic Party, and AOC endorsing Biden too soon comes as no surprise. Just another disappointment in a long, sad history of disappointments.
Shout out to Chris Legion out there.
Oh, we got Chris Legion.
I hate to cut you off.
No, that's all good. Shout out to Chris Legion. Shout out to you, buddy. How you doing?
He's lurking in chat. He's lurking, so I just outed him. Sorry, bro. I love you.
Very good. We got Roger Meadows who tip $2. Speaking of Jacobin, Kit, we finally got this passed. We just passed the most comprehensive climate bill into law that put Governor FDR's New York Power Authority, biggest public power authority in the country, to ramp us renewable projects and eventually phase out private power in the state. Fantastic news. Fantastic news. And then Kyle, also, he said, number one, change his mind about the Palestinians. You're talking about RFK Jr. Look, I reached out to his campaign and they sent a confirmation email that I am on a list. So I'm on a list for him to be on our show. Look, I'll ask him that. You know, I make that promise to you guys. So there you go. There you go, man.
Huh?
So that's what's happening.
You're on a list. What list is that? Is that a list of people that he won't talk to, or you're on a list of people that have requested his
to interview
presence?
to be interviewed.
Okay.
To be interviewed, yes. So that's what's happening. That's what's happening. So nonetheless, folks, we are going to be moving on to our final segment of the day. So let's go ahead and get that all set up, so that way we are well aware of what's going on.
Wait, $2 tip from Roger Meadows over on the Rockfin.
I did.
I'll read it out.
It. Yeah, there's another one that came up because it's about.
There's another one. Yeah, that one. Did I miss that?
No,
that was it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jacobin.
Yeah, I already read that one.
Private power in the state. I must have blanked out.
Good stuff. Good stuff, man.
Sorry, Roger. Love you.
So there you go. Shout out to Roger Meadows. Give him a thumbs up. So with that being said, let's get started now with our final segment of the day. So it turns out Tucker Carlson will be hosting the first GOP presidential forum without Trump. What? Donald Trump's not going to debate. What? What's going on? So let's talk about it. Tucker Carlson hosting first GOP presidential forum without Trump. So again, let me close this window out. I don't know why it's playing. Former Fox News host Tucker Carlson will host a forum later this week with a handful of candidates for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. One member of the GOP primary field will be noticeably absent. However, frontrunner former President Donald Trump. The forum, which will be held Friday in the early primary state of Iowa, will feature one-on-one conversations between Carlson and the leading GOP candidates of Florida, Ron DeSantis, Vice President Mike Pence, Senator Tim Scott, and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, and former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson, and entrepreneur Vivek Ramsey. Representatives for several of the candidates confirmed to The Hill on Tuesday their plans to attend the event and said they anticipate a conversation lasting about 25 minutes with Carlson. Oh, my goodness. So let's pull up this video because, again, first of all, it would be very interesting to see just how this forum plays out. But also, we got a video of, again, people questioning why Trump would not want to attend this first Republican primary debate.
Going to be the deciding factor on whether President Trump does or does not participate in the debates?
Great question. At the moment, President Trump has indicated that he's unlikely to participate, at least in the first two debates. He's up by 30, 40, and even new polling shows he's up by almost 50% in certain places. It really wouldn't make much sense for him to go and debate right now with a bunch of folks who are down at 3, 4, and 5%. Even Ron DeSantis, who's a second place candidate in the race currently, is at least 20, 30, or 40 points behind. And so ultimately, President Trump will make a decision as we get closer. He has not said anything definitive one way or the other. I'm not expecting him to participate, though.
All right, not expecting, but I'm hearing you stop short of confirming. Hey, look, there's two sort of thoughts here, right? One is a little unsportsmanlike, right? To just say, hey, I'm not going to even show up. The second question I would have is, what's he afraid of?
Oh, it's sportsmanlike.
Well, I wouldn't describe it like that at all. I think in many ways it's similar to getting a bye in the first round of the NFL playoffs. If you essentially have an undefeated season, say you're 17-0, and all the other teams are maybe have 4 wins or 5 wins on the season, you shouldn't have to worry about playing them in the first round. Again, I don't want to go and get too far ahead of the president. He'll ultimately make the decision, but we look very much forward to taking on Joe Biden, which is really what this race is going to be about. And at a certain point here, I think the other candidates who are down at 3, 4, and 5% have to look in the mirror and say, hey, is this actually helping their candidacy, or is it really just getting in the way of us beating Joe Biden next year?
So I want to pause it here. So because there's a lot to unpack here with that video. First of all, look, Trump would occasionally skip a few of the primary debates. Now, I know in one of the states that he did that in, it did cost him winning that said state. I forget which one it was during the Republican primary 2016, but also Trump didn't debate any of his opponents during the 2020 Republican primary. Yes, there were people who were trying to primary Donald Trump, and that never came into fruition. So if he does skip this primary debate, it'd be disappointing. I think he'd make it far more interesting. However, I think more or less, he probably he probably could still walk away from it unscarred. Indy, could you take over real quick, because I believe I have somebody knocking at my door and I have to take care of that.
Yeah,
so
sure. Well, again,
so why don't you filibuster for a little?
Yeah, so I would say that, you know, first of all, who's Jason Miller? Jason Miller is a guy that he worked for the 2016 or 2020 Trump campaign. He worked as a staffer for Trump. And when he left the Trump campaign, he went and founded Getter. I don't know if anybody's aware of that. And they never disclosed that, how interestingly enough, in this whole interview, that Jason Miller was the founder of Getter and he worked for Trump. And now he's a Trump staffer again. So he's got a lot of history and a lot of knowledge. But, you know, Miller joins campaign. He joined in February. They've been criticized for its performance out of the gate. But I honestly feel like Trump has everything to lose and nothing to gain here by going into a Republican debate. He's already got 35% of the base. He's got, you know, people say that if he's just going to keep going, he'll have the nomination locked up. And it's just a matter of time. That DeSantis is nowhere to be found. There are no other serious challengers, and they're diluting the field from Vivek Ramaswamy to Mike Pence to Asa Hutchinson. You've got a lot of anti-Trump vote out there, and unless all of them coalesce and can decide on a universal candidate that they're going to all back to take on Trump, they're all going to dilute the vote so much that Trump is going to sail to the nomination. So Trump's like, let them all fight it out and fight for the scraps while I run away with 35% of the vote to begin with. And all I need to do is take another 10, 15% and show people how bad these clowns are to do so.
Precisely. So first of all, again, look, Donald Trump running for office. I already knew that he was going to get above double digits. He's going to get in the high double-digit numbers. He's universally popular with the Republican voting base, and everyone right now that's trying to challenge him, from Chris Christie to Nikki Haley to his former VP Mike Pence and even DeSantis, they are struggling to catch up to him. And just because Trump has all these legal problems doesn't mean that it's going to tank him. In fact, if he's able to walk away from these legal problems, he's going to come out stronger than ever before. I mean, I'll find it surprising that Trump will no longer be a candidate in the 2024 Republican primary if that's the case. He is not going anywhere. This is a matter of pride. This is a matter of regaining control over the MAGA movement against the other conservative politicians. And mind you, I find it funny that Trump, who helped out people like DeSantis, Chris Christie, Pence, Nikki Haley, he's surrounded himself with a bunch of yes people. So if Trump does get reelected in office, I hope he learns his lesson. Beware of the scumbags that are part of the Republican establishment, because they were all at one point benefited of having Trump's good graces surrounding them, and now they're all trying to come after him.
Yeah.
Precisely.
I think a lot of these people who are running are also counting on the fact that the Democrats are going to figure out a way to stop him from running for the nomination in the first place. Even though he's running right now, they are using a lot of legal mechanisms to try to prevent him from running. And I think one of the deals that they've already basically offered him, which I don't know how they're getting away with this, but is if he's effectively going to agree to never run for president again, they'll pretty much leave him alone. That's why they're pursuing all of this, which means that they really want to have, you know, their Pied Pipering towards Ron DeSantis effectively, because they feel like they've got a better chance to beat a Ron DeSantis than they do to beat a Trump. Exactly. I feel like that's kind of the game that they're playing here. That they have created this Hitler-like monster in Trump, a cartoonish character that doesn't exist. He's a bad dude in a lot of ways. He wasn't a perfect president at all. He was incredibly corrupt. He was incredibly narcissistic. He didn't help our country at all. He didn't help us on the international stage. He was way too close to Israel. I mean, they renamed the Golan Heights the Trump Heights in his name, and he didn't tell them to stop it. I mean, just disgraceful. The guy doesn't represent me, never did. But at the same time, he's useful to them. They don't truly hate him. What they hate is that he exposes just how nakedly corrupt they all are, too, because he does the same stuff that they did. He's just worse at keeping his mouth shut about it because he's a braggart, which is another problem for him. I've never been a Trump supporter. I've also never been a Biden supporter. I voted for Howie Hawkins, unfortunately, in 2020. This time, I will likely leave the top line blank. I live in New Jersey. New Jersey's already going to be decided, and it's going to go to Joe Biden. We already know that that's going to be happening. So why the hell would I vote to support that? To fight fascism? Joe Biden's done plenty of fascist stuff, and he's been just as kid-touchy and creepy and weird and herky-jerky and dementia-riddled as anything Trump ever did on stage 5 years ago. So
exactly,
I'm out on both these clowns. You know, don't call me a Biden supporter. Don't call me a Trump supporter. I will call them both garbage all day long.
As they are, as you should be calling them garbage because they are garbage.
As you should. So,
as we wrap up the show, first of all, Indy, I want to give you a chance to promote your network and show. Where can people go online to follow you on social media? Because everything that has a beginning must and will have an end.
Oh boy. Well, you can find me on Twitter at IND Left News. You can see that there, but also at Get Indie News is INN, which is the network of 20 independent content creators who collaborate, work together, love each other. We're a big family. Tara Reid, Misty Winston, Reef Breland, Angel Rivera, Robert Durden, Colin Radix Carter, Jesse Jett, so many people that are in this chat right now. So many people. There's actually a link to meet our members. Chris at Bread and Circuses. I actually need to update the members link right now. But you can see all of our members, all of our links, all of our link trees are right there. Joe, shut the fuck it up, shitlib3. Chris Legion, you could still find him on Substack, though he's kind of gone incognito to a point. I know you showed up today, and I appreciate you being here for that. We are, how do we miss that? Every Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, Reef and I go live, and we'll do 4 or 5 stories, and then we'll watch some Reddit funny reacts, which then becomes a show called Boats Smashing into Other Boats, and then we run that as its own show on INN on Friday nights. So you can subscribe INN.network. You can go to indieleft.media. You can see my link up there. That's my link tree to find all of my links to connect with me. Patreon, Substack. Definitely connect with me as well as with Hardlands. I do a lot of work on Substack. I help make Misty's Substack 5 days a week. Been helping out Kit and helping him on the back end write some of his. Plus, I make INN every week. We have a weekly update to where everyone at INN's been up to and all their appearances and live streams. You can follow us everywhere. I also make a tech tips channel, and once in a while I sleep. I also have a family and kids and a job and a life and family. You know, that's all there too. But I love this. I love independent media. I love doing what I'm doing. I love INN, and I appreciate everybody in the audience. Hardlands Media is one of the best outlets out there. They are the only outlet I know of that covers news 5 days a week from an independent perspective, and I certainly appreciate that. We need more of them, more Kit Cabellos, and we'll be here to support them with tech, with advice on platforms, on helping with producers, on making graphics, whatever we need. But love you too, Jesse Jett. Jesse Jett is the man. American Tradition last night. Check that out. We had a blast. It was so much fun. Even Kit was there.
No, it was great, man. Look, here's the thing, folks. INN, they've been doing great work. I hope to see their channel continue to grow. Indie News Network is one of the few networks that really likes to collaborate with other content creators, and each of the team members have contributed something that really helps out the greater independent media community, be it Shut the F Up, Shite Libs with his compilations, to, again, political analysis from Colin Radix Carter, the music from Jesse Jett, Misty's Sharp Mind, the wonderful, incredible Tara Reid, Indy, you and Reef have been tag team champions, really building up this team. So look, INN got wrongly hit by YouTube and its censorship. So they need help. They're a growing channel. And if you can subscribe and help boost up their viewership, that would be awesome, because we need more voices like them. And as always, Indy, the door is open for you to be a special guest co-host. And yes, I am looking forward to coming back on your show very soon as well. So let's keep our heads on a swivel and keep on drinking water. And shout out to INN, to everyone watching. If you're not following INN, come on, show them some love.
Thanks, everybody.
No problem, folks. All right, we're going to be ending this episode. Hope you're safe going to work. If you're coming home from work, be safe. It's your day off, dance off, pants off, pour some whiskey in your coffee, grab a mimosa, smoke a bowl, do some shrooms, chew on some cocoa leaves, whatever you need to do to get you through this Wednesday hump day morning. But also, folks, tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central, movie night is Hard Lens, Blade Runner 2049. Until then, folks, I'm up out of here. Indy's up out of here. We got some music from Jesse Jet. Get ready to celebrate, sing, and live. Peace, you guys. Oh, wait, hold on. We also got a YouTube super chat, I believe, from Roger Meadows, who tipped $2. Phil Murphy ran on public banking. Where's that at? Oh, true. Very true. All right.
He was a Goldman Sachs guy. He was never actually going to give us public banking. I voted against him. I voted for Madeline Hoffman, who was the Green candidate for governor. I always call her governor. When I talk to Madeline, I always call her governor. But thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Have a good day.
And shout out to all the wonderful people on Rumble as well. I'm seeing all you lovely people. Thank you for helping us build up Rumble. Until then, folks, we are up out of here.
Land of the free, and you'll know us by the trail of dead. It's just one more world war to complete the set. When you live by the pike, you die by the pith. You die wide-eyed, still pleading the fifth, or crying divine epithets and pathetic attempts at defense. All empathetic for those on your side of the fence. Well, I'll gladly put you and your legacy into an alternate tense of faltering senses and altered events. Like hun, it ain't a hearse, it's a reaper's stretch. Ah, how sweet, she said. Bunch of hordes in the street like it's Evil Dead. Where the thin blue line meets razor's edge. And where the corporate ladder ascends to a steel-toed boot that awaits on the ledge. You'll be licking it fresh at your boss's request till it stomps each finger and watches you fall to your death. And drown in an ocean of debt. Gone with the fodder who gathered to honor the patient left, who purity tested themselves into sections, step by step till the next election, when it's just one them and the sound of their well-read theorized breath. That's harm reduction for the lowly cost of you holding your nose and just openly buying the theft. Maybe that's all in the flick of the pen. Maybe we're all one unmarked van from a trip to the pen. Being guarded by pigs who exist on a diet of dying breaths of much worthier men. Honey, heaven's expecting you. Just don't get too hung up on who they let in. Just look up at the shine of the pearly gates. You don't need to worry if there's lead in the paint. You don't need to worry if there's lead in the water, lead in the milk, lead in the honey, lead in the caustic embrace of the Heavenly Father. Lead is the flavor of passive perpetual slaughter. Lead is the taste of us led to the ledge by the lure of the legend of expert consensus, and then beckon to stretch it just one step farther. And I hope all the folks who were boastfully gloating and toasting themselves as the heroes of COVID for boosting their boosters and doing their part are now equally thrilled to be starstruck martyrs. All laid in a government grave with anonymous markers, like you're back from the carvers and off to the splicer. You're the very first wave to be slain in the war against Pfizer. That 100 years war against Pfizer. They are thinning the crowd that is striking right now to bleed adequate pay from those inhuman misers, who all sit in their office and designate coffins to people regarded as nothing but profit for Kaiser. Still the Dems want you nicer. Dems want you softer. Dems want you kinder. Yeah, they all want you graciously starving in silence. You will speak when you're spoken to. Rest of the time, you and all of us peasants are merely depressing statistics neglected in Congress's binders. All bled, bone dry, then fed to the grinder. Our headstones line each step as reminders. That's a lesson in object permanence learned in the furnace by workers consigned to the fire. Workers bled, bone dry, then fed by the fed to the grinder. Fed by the fed to the grinder. Now the fed went straight to your head. Mind what you hide and your size unsaid, and your eyes turn blind to the signs unread. Flag bright red, so you let it in bed. You let it inside, and you'll see that it's fed. Never you mind that it grinds your wealth into bread for itself, then it bleeds you dry, then it dines on the dead. Now the fed went straight to your head. Mind what you hide and your size unsaid, and your eyes turn blind to the signs unread. Flag bright red, so you let it in bed. You let it inside, and you'll see that it's fed. Never you mind that it grinds your wealth into bread for itself, then it bleeds you dry, then it dines on the dead. And the fed went straight to your head. Mind what you hide and your size unsaid, and your eyes turn blind to the signs unread. Flag bright red, so you let it in bed. You let it inside, you'll see that it's fed. Never you mind that it grinds your wealth into bread for itself, bleeds you dry, then dines on the dead. The fed went straight to your head. Mind what you hide and your size unsaid, and your eyes turn blind to the signs unread. Flag bright red, so you let it in bed. You let it inside, and you'll see that it's fed. Never you mind that it grinds your wealth into bread for itself, then it bleeds you dry, then it dines on the dead. Here's where our leaders would see us all led. Here's where our leaders would see us all led. Here's where our leaders would see us all led. Here's where our leaders would see us all led. The fed went straight to your head. Mind what you hide and your size unsaid, and your eyes turn blind to the signs unread. Flag bright red, so you let it in bed. You let it inside, and you'll see that it's fed. Never you mind that it grinds your wealth into bread for itself, then it bleeds you dry, then it dies on the dead. The fed went straight to your head. Mind what you hide and your size unsaid, and your eyes turn blind to the signs unread. Flag bright red, so you let it in bed. You let it inside, and you'll see that it's fed. Never you mind that it grinds your mind, that it grinds yourself, then it bleeds you dry, then it dies on the dead. Here's where our leaders would see us all led.